Listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here are some rapid-fire questions with Taylor Cormier. What would you eat for your last meal on Earth?
I'm fond of old favorites, childhood favorites. I'd go with my mother's beef and bean pie, followed by, for dessert, my grandmother's recipe for oatmeal cookies and a big glass of milk.
Where is your favorite place to vacation?
Home. I like being home. I like my house. I know where everything is. Yeah, I just like being home.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to listen to?
It's called Without a Song, and it's on the album I Remember Tommy. It's a tribute to Tommy Dorsey, and it's a very swinging remake of the original orchestration.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to sing?
My favorite one to sing is One for My Baby and One for the Road. It's a very sad song, but it's somebody coming to the realization that this is the way life is, and they've come to terms with it. And I think it's something that everybody can connect to. It's a great equalizer for everybody in the room.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
What exactly did you mean when you said that the enemy is within? What exactly did
it means that we have members of Congress who want to bring guns on the floor and have threatened violence on other members of Congress.
Seems like an overreaction.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Thank you for your leadership during these trying times. In the darkest stage of the pandemic, your daily briefings live from New York gave us hope, gave us clarity, gave us the truth, and gave us something that we were not getting from Washington. Leadership.
What?
I was trying to think of something that I could say to you.
It's a tragedy. And I understand. Look, whether a person died in a hospital or died in a nursing home, people died. People died.
Hey, now is not the time for your cold-hearted analysis.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
I'm trying to imagine the reaction if Donald Trump had said any of the things that Andrew Cuomo said today at his press conference after he got busted.
Bring your mic to your mouth, please.
Busted for lying about COVID-19. Deadly lies. That's the headline in the New York Post today. And they changed the cover of his book, American Crisis. They changed the subtitle to How I Failed COVID-19, Killed Thousands and Passed the Bucks. We're going to get to that in just a moment, and complete with all of the celebs kissing his gluteus maximus when he was slaughtering these nursing home patients, as I think Janice Dean put it today in her New York Post column. But the first thing I wanted to get to is a bit of very disappointing news, not unexpected, but still disappointing. We all expected so much of the Russiagate investigation, we were told over and over again, and I know some of you will blame me for saying it, that we were going to put people in jail. We meant to say we were going to put people in the CNN green room where they could comment on lying after they had lied under oath or lied to federal agents, obstructed justice. So there was
that's
one.
kind of like jail, isn't it? The green room.
No, the difference is you have a limo waiting for you when you leave and you go home and you sleep in your own bed and you get a check every 2 weeks. That's the difference. It's a big difference. It's not pleasant to be in the same confined area with Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon, Fredo Cuomo, et cetera, the Wolf Blitzer, but it's better than being in durance vile, as they say. But there was one guy who was at risk of going to the can, and that would be Kevin Kleinsmith. He was the FBI lawyer who falsified a document saying that Carter Page was not a CIA asset in a Russian espionage probe about 10 years ago. Actually, he was. And actually, the CIA informed the FBI of that. And this guy, Kevin Kleinsmith, a lawyer for the FBI, altered the email and then it was presented to the FISA court saying that, let's surveil Carter Page, a U.S. Naval Academy graduate, a veteran, a businessman in Manhattan, a member of the Trump Foreign Policy Advisor team. Not a high-ranking member, but a guy. And they just decided to go after him because they figured they could tap his phone or surveil him, and then it would lead them back to Donald Trump. So they lied about him, and they tried to put him in prison. They tried to put this guy in prison, a veteran, a U.S. Naval Academy graduate, an American citizen who was minding his own business and assisting in Russian espionage probes. But this guy, Kevin Kleinsmith, decided to, obviously on higher orders from somebody else, decided to falsify these documents, which were filed with the FISA court, the Secret Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court, where you don't have a chance to dispute any of the allegations made by the government. It's called ex parte proceedings. And it's ripe for abuse, as we see in the case of Carter Page and Kevin Kleinsmith and many others. Kleinsmith was busted for making up this document, for obstructing justice. Today, he was to be sentenced. He's a lawyer. That means they could disbar him, too. Do you know what he got? Probation. Probation. There's no mention. I read all the stories that are up on the wire. There's no mention of any disbarment proceedings. He's not going to get his ticket pulled. He's not going to do any time. You know, Paul Sperry, who I like as a reporter, was speculating that that Durham was going to try to squeeze him to get to these other people, the people in the CNN green room, like Andrew McCabe, who we played the cut of yesterday, talking about how terrible it is the way the Trump people lie. This is a guy who was caught lying 3 times to federal agents, 3 felonies on his first day in office. Now he's complaining about the other. So I don't know. It just, 617. When was the last time a politician or a hack did a perp walk? Why are you surprised? DC is full of grifters protecting one another. I'm not surprised, but I'm just angry about it. And I thought I just had to come out of the box with it. And I guess even if you thought it was on the level, the fact that they were doing the sentencing on a Friday afternoon was the first clue. That even though it's not a holiday weekend, is it? No, it's not a holiday weekend. There's so many holidays now, it's hard to keep them straight. But even though it wasn't a holiday weekend, I should have known that they were going to bag this case. It's just so pitiful. Here's what he told the Judge Boasberg, who's I believe an Obama appointee, as you of course would expect. I have a duty to take responsibility for my actions or mistakes. How exactly are you taking a duty? How do you have a responsibility? What's your duty if you're not going to be disbarred and you're not going to go to the can? So he's going to do 400 hours community service. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Who really thinks he's going to do 400 hours? That would be 10 weeks of work. During the sentencing this afternoon, Kleinsmith said he was ashamed of his actions. No, he was ashamed he got caught, adding that he had, quote, harmed the very institutions that I cherish and admire. That would be the FBI. In a related development, did you see there's a story out of Pennsylvania that the FBI apparently dug up this mound near Gettysburg a couple of years ago. They were looking for a treasure trove of gold that was supposedly taken from Wheeling, West Virginia to Philadelphia, but somehow it disappeared during the Battle of Gettysburg, which is what? How many years ago would that be? 158 years ago. 158 years ago. They dug up 2 years ago. The FBI came in with 50 people, armored cars, backhoes. They dug up this whole mound, and then they just left a giant hole and left. But they won't tell anybody what they found. And so a lawyer for the treasure hunting company that gave the FBI the original tip, he's been trying to find out if they really found anything, and the FBI says, "Oh no, we didn't find anything." You have to believe the FBI, right? Because they're totally on the level, right? And they said, "We can't tell you anymore because it's an ongoing criminal investigation." Really? This happened in 1863, and it's an ongoing criminal investigation. Oh, okay. Yeah. Does anyone think the FBI absconded with 50 bars of gold or whatever it was? Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of gold. The lawyer for the company says they found out everything they wanted to. Meanwhile, there's more FBI news today other than Kleinsmith, the crooked FBI lawyer. He wasn't an agent, but he was a lawyer, getting his case broomed, and no repercussions for at all about trying to put a Republican in jail. What if it had been a Republican lawyer trying to put a Democrat puke, a member of Antifa, in jail for a crime he didn't commit, rather than a Republican U.S. veteran of the Naval Academy? You think there would have been a little slightly different outcome? I mean, like the guy who was sitting in Pelosi's chairs. You think he's going to get probation? You think the guy in the horns is going to get probation, even though he's obviously nuts? Well, we have another development here. Remember Peter Strzok? He was one of the bosses of this guy Kleinsmith. He was the one who broomed the Hillary Clinton espionage invasion, and then tried to frame Donald Trump, who wrote his girlfriend that he could smell the Trump supporters at the Walmart in Tidewater, Virginia, who said that Hillary should win $100 million to nothing. Well, Joe Biden became president last week, and guess who got a promotion the next day? Peter Strzok's estranged wife, the sconed woman, Melissa Hodgman, was named acting director of the Division of Enforcement for the Securities and Exchange Commission. And she was the one who busted Strzok. She found his emails in his phone and then called up Lisa Page, the horse-faced FBI lawyer. I know Lisa's not the best-looking woman in the world, but she has a better figure than Melissa Hodgman.
You better watch your microaggressions, bro.
I know. Anyway, so those are your FBI stories today from all over the place. From Peter Strzok, somehow, even though he's crooked, so crooked he needs a corkscrew to get into his pants in the morning, was fired from the FBI, former Boston agent, by the way. His wife gets a big kiss, a promotion. The FBI won't say how much gold they dug up, but they say an 158-year criminal investigation is continuing. And the most crooked lawyer in FBI history walks today. It's just another day in the swamp, isn't it? With the incoming administration barging their way into office, this may cause some economic disturbance. Tax laws are going to change. Your tax burden on selling real estate will undoubtedly grow. Don't get caught flat-footed and squander the equity you've built up over the years or decades in your real estate. Sell today with J.J. Manning. For over 40 years, J.J. Manning has been the leading auction house in New England. From high-end homes to estates to commercial properties throughout New England, J.J. Manning can get your property sold fast and contingency-free. There's a big reason why Mass Lawyers Weekly voted J.J. Manning number 1 for 4 consecutive years. Because they have a huge following of bidders who pay cash. When you sell with a broker, you pay the commission. But in an auction like with J.J. Manning, the buyer pays. These are treacherous times in the real estate market. Commercial properties are having more than some problems. Residential real estate in some areas like the suburbs or the high-end towns is up. Other places, it's through the floor. It's so bad. To learn more on how to get your property sold fast with a profit, contact Charlie Gill at jjmanning.com. With over 16,000 sales and satisfied clients, you can be the next one. Call them today at 800-521-0111 or go to jjmanning.com and get your property sold. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Defensive Strategies in Manchester, New Hampshire. Defensive Strategies is the premier firearms training company in southern New Hampshire with more than 100 classes from beginner to instructor level. Come to where the trainers train. Visit defensivestrategies.org.
I know he always asks me tough questions, and he always has an edge to him, but I like him anyway.
Now that you're president and you're saying there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months, what happened to 2 months ago when you were talking declaratively about I'm going to shut down the virus? When President Trump was imposing travel restrictions in March, specifically on China, then candidate Biden called it xenophobic and fear-mongering. So now President Biden is putting travel restrictions on people coming in from other countries. What word do we use to describe that?
Well, I don't think that's quite a fair articulation.
Why weren't President Biden and all members of the Biden family masked at all times on federal lands last night if he signed an executive order that mandates masks on federal lands at all times?
But he was celebrating an evening, a historic day.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
This is the second time that you've laid hands on me. When you're slapped, you'll take it and like it.
Howie Carr is back.
844-500-4242. 617 says, we have a family cabin near Dents Run. That's where this gold was supposedly buried in Pennsylvania. And people have been looking for that gold for as long as I can remember, and I'm 60. People, locals there, are really PO'd with the FBI. I mean, it would be one thing if you thought, oh, they dug up the gold, and it was the government's gold, so we understand why they're taking it away. But this is the FBI. I mean, when you think of how crooked and corrupt the FBI is, does anybody think they're on the level? And you're giving them a chance, a clean shot at digging up $50 or $100 million, however much it is, worth of gold bullion, and then they say they can't comment because there's an ongoing criminal investigation, huh? 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. For all your house odors, you need the Eden Pure air purifier. Through Sunday, January 31st, BOGO is back. Go to EdenPure.com and use code word HowieBOGO. This is a great deal. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
As climate czar, how will John Kerry travel? Commercially, government plane, or the flying squirrel?
That's his second wife's first husband's trust funds plane that he normally uses since he stopped being Secretary of State. I'm going to say government jet.
62% say government airlines.
And how many did commercial airline get?
6%. 32% think he'll be on the flying squirrel.
He was one in those days long gone when he did fly commercial jets on occasion. He was the king of the "Do you know who I am?" Even more so than a Kennedy.
Can I get me a hot towel here, please?
They just make bad choices, I mean, why would you want to go down and work in a coal mine when you could become a gigolo? For Pete's sake. All right, 844-500-4242. Again, these sound cuts, if we had an honest media in the United States of America, this would be leading the relatively slow news day today. Andrew Cuomo, who wrote the book and got the Emmy and had his ass kissed by all these Hollywood celebs, which we'll play a lot of these cuts as we go through the day. He made the most callous comments today after being busted about his state government lied about where people died in the nursing homes, and everybody knew it. They not just Republicans, Democrats held hearings in Albany about this, truly bipartisan hearings, and people like Janice Dean, the Fox weather woman, meteorologist, she was on it. She wrote a great column today. I'll read it a little bit later on, but you've got to hear some of this, some of these cuts here, and where Cuomo said this, what he said today in Albany. Let's start with cut 25.
Look, whether a person died in a hospital or died in a nursing home, it's the people died. People died.
That's it. People died. At this point, what difference does it make?
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Let's go back to Cuomo, cut 26.
By the way, the same people are dying today. 96% of the people who die are older people with comorbidities, which happens to be the population that lives in nursing homes. It's continuing today.
Maybe the death toll could have been reduced somewhat had you not insisted that COVID-19 positive patients be put into the nursing homes like Charlie Parker is doing in Massachusetts even today? Do you think there's any connection that all the states with the highest death tolls from COVID are the states that put COVID-19 positive patients into nursing homes? Cut 23.
Where this starts is, frankly, a political attack from prior federal administration, HHS. Their great spokesperson, Michael Caputo, who's Roger Stone protege, who said we had more nursing home deaths in New York because of something that the state health department did.
And that was untrue. How exactly? Roger Stone. Another guy like Carter Page, who was framed, and now he's being framed again. I'm Howie Carr.
The Kathy Ireland Gem Spa was one of the hottest selling gifts this holiday season. This Valentine's Day, give a gift that will provide a lifetime of sparkling clean jewelry. I use mine every week and my jewelry looks amazing. I had no idea how dirty my jewelry was until I started cleaning it with the Gem Spa. I bought one for my mom and for my aunts. Join the clean jewelry revolution. Get yours now. Go to mygemspa.com, use promo code GRACE and save 20%. That's mygemspa.com, promo code GRACE and save 20%.
Liberty Safe. If you're a gun owner, you know that name because they've worked so hard to earn the title of America's #1 safe. And the area's best Liberty Safe dealer is Dependable Lock in Nashua. They have Liberty Safes in stock now. Keep your guns and other valuables locked up in a Liberty Safe. See the experts at Dependable Lock to learn more and see the full collection. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love. And to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my. Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is #1. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying. Hitler was a Christian. Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman. Did you have tanning lotion on, Joy? A little. I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't Rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
People are coming up with slogans, LBJ style or George W. Bush style slogans for Andrew Cuomo after he admitted basically to slaughtering thousands of people older people in the nursing homes. Cuomo lied. People died. That would be a George W. Bush slogan. And then from the LBJ era, the 60s. Hey, hey, ho, ho. How many people did you kill today? Cuomo. Not quite.
Yeah, I was going to say.
A total replica of a
I'm not
poem.
sure if the error is in the lyricist or the singer, but it's not very catchy.
Well, I rhymed ho, or I should say the texter rhymed ho and Cuomo. I mean, that's pretty good. Anyway, okay, Grace is with us with Grace's news.
Yes. Now I'm trying to think of my own chant against Andrew Cuomo. I'll let you know if I come up with one. So Andrew Cuomo, Howie, obviously you played a lot of these cuts. He's being really heavily criticized today by the press, which is surprising.
But not by the New York Times. Or is the New York Daily News going after him? I mean, again, we live in this echo chamber, Grace. Where we read the New York Post and Breitbart and Free Republic and Lucy Ann, but we don't know what's going on, or we know what's going on, but there's nothing going on in the mainstream media, is there?
I like my echo chamber better than their echo chamber, I have to say. The people in my echo chamber are a lot nicer and more calm.
And they're chanting. Today they're chanting.
Howie, Carol Markowitz had a story that she wrote for the Washington Examiner. I don't know if you saw the cover of it. It was a cartoon of Ron DeSantis, and it said, "The future is Florida." And she had this excellent interview with him, and she asked him what he was most proud of with his handling of COVID. And he said, "I'm most proud of getting our kids back at school. We knew the data. We knew it was low risk. We felt we had to hold the line on this. We knew it was the case 6 to 8 months ago. We were able to save the upbringing of hundreds of thousands of kids." They say you have to lock down, but states where kids are locked down, where kids aren't in school, not playing sports, businesses are closed, have higher case numbers than we do. And I thought, wow, that is exactly it right there.
I don't think the Florida teachers unions are as insane as they are in many states, including Massachusetts.
Right. And Biden and Jen Psaki are not helping when they say, when they go along with the teachers unions. Biden the other day said, "Oh yeah, we need ventilators, we need testing." He moved the goalpost in one sentence down the field. And I'm sure a lot of parents are sitting at home going, "Wait a second, what? I thought we needed a vaccine."
Right. And again, even before the vaccine, no children are dying of this.
Well, that brings me to my next story. Children may be able to get COVID-19 vaccine this spring, Dr. Fauci says.
Is he an expert, Grace?
He's an expert. The COVID-19 vaccine may be rolled out to children starting as early as the spring, Dr. Anthony Fauci said Friday. The nation's top infectious disease expert said trials will begin over the next couple of months to test the vaccine's efficacy among the country's youngest population.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Because you know why, Grace? Because he's the expert.
No, you always cite that though as a way of saying he was wrong. But play it again, Taylor, for me, if you don't mind. I just want to correct Howie on this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
He said right now people should not be walking around with a mask. He did not say right now people shouldn't be walking around with 3 masks. So I think you owe him an apology, Howie.
Wait a second. Is he up to 3 now? I saw the story about 2 earlier in the week, which it used to be 1 for several months after it was 0. Is he up to 3 today?
Howie, it's like anything else. You know, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So honestly, he was up to 3 a few days ago, but now it might be up to 5 or 6.
I think CNBC was the one that they were up to 3. They said 3 provided 90% effectiveness, whereas 2 provided only 75%.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, when in the days when everybody smoked, they said 3 on a match was very unlucky.
Howie, you told me today to give Janice Dean's piece in Fox News a read, and I did. It was excellent. A lot of these people feeling very vindicated today, as they should. But of course, Cuomo's just blaming. I mean, I knew he was going to blame somebody. I didn't think that Roger Stone's name would get thrown into the mix. For me, that was a little bit of a curveball.
I mean, they basically bankrupted Roger Stone, over nothing. They asked that how many people could tell you if somebody said, on July 17th, did you send an email to X? Did you text a something to Y? That's what they were asking him. That's what they got him for, his quote unquote perjury and obstruction of justice.
Right. No, exactly. And now his name's being thrown back in by Andrew Cuomo. It was funny, Howie, because Joe Borelli tweeted out today, okay, everyone, he's very into the New York stuff. He's a New York City councilman. He said, okay, everyone, who is Andrew Cuomo going to blame during this press conference? Wrong answers only. And people were responding back, Reddit, Donald Trump, all these different things. But no one said Roger Stone. No one guessed that.
Wait, and it's always really important. It's like Charlie Parker, the governor of Massachusetts, saying, I'm tired of everybody being so judgmental. In other words, I'm the only one who's allowed to be judgmental. It's like Dukakis used to say, stop the finger pointing. And he meant, stop the pointing your finger at me. So Cuomo did it today when he's talking about blame. 24.
Everyone did the best they could. When I say the State Department of Health, as the report said, the State Department of Health followed federal guidance. So if you think there was a mistake, then go talk to the federal government. It's not about pointing fingers or blame. It's that this became a political football.
It's completely their fault, but I'm not here to point fingers.
Who? Again, when someone says, let's not point fingers, it means don't point fingers at me. When they say, let's not play the blame game, it means don't blame me.
What's the saying? When you point your finger at someone else, there's 4 pointing back at you?
Right.
3 pointing back at you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's amazing because he really is trying to convince himself, like, oh, we did the best we could. Howie, I said this earlier, but anytime that I did poorly in something, whether it was sports or tests or anything, if I told my mom I did the best I could, I was always lying. I mean, there was just no doubt that I definitely didn't. And now that's a valid excuse from, the leader of New York is, people did the best they could. What happens, happens. What can you do? Potato, potato. People are dead. It's like, okay, so that's all we're going to get. That's what Janice Dean is going to get as an apology.
Yeah. It's just, there's so many outrageous quotes here. Let's play cut 32.
The politics wasn't just here in New York. It was all the Democratic governors. It was New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. Blame all the Democratic governors for the deaths in nursing homes. No, that was mean. Because if you lost someone in a nursing home, then it put a thought in your head, well, maybe it didn't have to be. Maybe my father died unnecessarily. And that was just cruel to do. That was just cruel.
He really has no shame. He really.
He sends COVID-19 patients into the nursing homes. The administrators say, please don't do this. It's going to kill people. And he says, I'm going to cut off state funding and shut down your nursing home if you don't take them in. And then when you point the finger at him, that's cruel and mean.
And it's also so funny to me that 99% of the media is on the Democrat side. And he's like, the media loves to attack us Democratic governors. It's like, so I'm gathering that all he does is read the New York Post because they're the only people who go after Democratic governors.
He also blamed God, as somebody pointed. I forgot about that. He blamed Rupert Murdoch. He blamed the Post, which is owned by Murdoch. He blamed God. He blamed Trump. Now he's blamed Roger Stone.
I might have a column here. I'm just writing these down. Hey, Howie, before we play any more, Grace's News is brought to you by Toyota of Portsmouth, the house of value. If you know me, you know I love my RAV4 XLE. It is my favorite thing to get in a car every single day that I love. My leather seats. It drives nice, especially now it's getting a little bit snowy out. If you want to get a car, and whether you want to lease one or buy one, you want to get a good deal. You don't want to be pressured into getting something that you can't afford. Toyota of Portsmouth has a huge, sparkling, clean showroom and an incredible staff. Say hi to Brad while you're there. Say hi to Jim. They're friends of the show. They'll treat you like VIPs. They're located just south of the Portsmouth traffic circle off 95. Go to toyotaofportsmouth.com or visit them at the showroom and tell them I sent you. By the way, Howie, I have to ask you this before we move on. Did you hear about this drama with the White House sign language interpreter?
Oh, yeah. She made the mistake of wearing a MAGA hat, so she must be removed from polite society for all time.
They're really, she's being doxxed. They really think that she's bad for unity. We can't unify with someone who once, did a hand signaling or hand sign language for, what's the guy's name? Terrence Williams.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Tom Brady's even going to be allowed to play in the Super Bowl next week because he had that MAGA hat in his locker when he played for the Patriots, right?
I know. It's crazy. And by the way, Howie, one last thing I want to get in here. Biden signs executive order allowing the U.S. to fund
abortions.
Global abortions.
Yes.
This story really made me sick. But Howie, you know what the craziest part of this story is? It's not crazy that they would want to do this because it fits along with their narrative and everything. But if you look at the public opinion polls, it says most Americans don't want the U.S. to fund abortions in other countries. Who would have thought? 3/4 of Americans oppose using U.S. aid money to fund abortions overseas. A slight majority of Democrats said they do not want the U.S. funding global abortions, and nearly 2/3 of self-described pro-choice Americans agreed.
Oh.
So who wants this? Who is this for?
It's for who wants to shut down the Keystone Pipeline. I don't care what the poll says. Who thinks it's who would rather pay $5 a gallon for gasoline than $1.90 a gallon?
I think it's like 20 progressive people on Twitter. That is who they are designing their platform around.
Hey, by the way, 603, a texter has straightened out one of our Cuomo chants. Hey, ho, ho, Andrew Cuomo's got to go.
Hey, ho, ho, Andrew Cuomo's got to go. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah. By the way, guys, if you want to check out HowieCarrshow.com and click on store, a lot of good Valentine's Day deals, Howie. A lot of those cheap bastard deals are still on there, and you guys can grab them for half price. And you'll be very happy you did. Yeah,
and you also, if you buy just today, this is a pre-Valentine's Day sale, any of the cheap bastard deals today, you also get a copy of What Really Happened. And don't worry about checking the box or anything like that. If you anyone who orders today will get sent to them in addition to the certificate for whatever the great cheap bastard deal you have is, we'll get a copy of What Really Happened, how Donald J. Trump saved America. And there are a lot of good deals. Yeah. Defensive strategies, Pro Clean Auto Wash. There's tons of great stuff for anyone in your life. So make sure you check that out. Yeah, you can get cryotherapy, gift certificate, IVs, body wellness. There's a lot of stuff there. Anyway, thank you, Grace. I'll see you at 5:30 for Police Blotter Facts Friday. Hey, ho, ho. Andrew Cuomo's got to go. Great news. The Gen 40 heater is back and just in time for the really cold temps. Oil prices are going to go up. The Keystone XL pipeline has been stopped. You've heard that news. It's horrible. 35 million gallons of oil a day are gone. for the U.S. anyway. Now there is a new moratorium on fracking on federal land. That means the price of natural gas is going to go through the roof. It was 10 degrees in parts of New England. It's colder now than 10 degrees in some parts of New England. You need to start planning for these higher heating bills, and that means you need the Gen 40 heater. Robert from the Cape says the Gen 40 performs like no other heater I've ever used. It is remarkable. Right, Taylor?
I think it was 6 degrees when I woke up this morning, so I was thankful that my pipes hadn't frozen. But if they had, I wouldn't have known it, because the Gen 40 is hard at work in our house.
The Eden Pure Gen 40 makes you feel warmer than your furnace, and it also costs less to run. You may be working more from home now, and you will need to pay close attention to the heating bills. The Eden Pure Gen 40 will pay for itself in a matter of weeks. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie Deal to get $50 off the sales price. That's EdenPure.com and use code word Howie Deal for an extra $50 off. These heaters are in high demand, so go right now to EdenPure.com. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr will return after this.
Taylor,
break.
what did they say at the phone company today?
Oh, I didn't get a chance to call them. I'm sorry.
Oh, but everything's fine though.
Yeah,
right?
Everything's working fine.
Okay. All right.
I imagine it's what you said. It was just an overload.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so we'll take some calls here.
And his friends. The real world of panic porn. Political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
Somebody I know has told me a story about how they got it, and it all goes back every single time to some informal gathering where nobody wore masks, nobody kept their distance, and the virus spread.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow the science world. But it's the only world they know.
I mean, it's pretty common at this point that that's where a big piece of this is coming from.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, and grandparents who are no longer with us.
I think it's up to 30,000 people have died.
Over 600,000 dead, 600 plus thousand people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people. And now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion. 500,000. 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having 2 classes of 12, for example. But you know, in the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, the Oval, back in May 9th, 2019, a $15 million, or $15,000, $15 minimum wage. I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
Say what you will about him.
He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
He's Howie Carr, and he's here to stay.
It was a tragedy, and I feel the anguish, and I feel the pain. And I get the anger. My father died. I wish I had someone to blame. It would have made me feel better, maybe. But they're in my thoughts and prayers.
Again, imagine Trump saying any of this, or Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Ron DeSantis, any Republican. They would be pilloried. They would be run out of town on a rail. They would be tarred and feathered, or all of the above, simultaneously, for saying that, any of this. And someone says, nothing's going to happen to Cuomo. Of course nothing's going to happen to Cuomo. 844-500-4242.
But then to play politics with it the way they did.
They did.
That was mean. That was mean.
There's the P word coming into play again, projection, right? He is accusing someone else of doing exactly what he did. And he did it everywhere. And he made sport of what was going on, joking with his brother, Fredo, who's on CNN, and didn't mention a word of it last night. And I mentioned earlier in the day, what kind of plane is Kerry going to use now that he's the climate czar? And I think most of us agree he's going to get a jet, because the flying squirrel's getting a little long in the tooth. You know what I mean? It's been around for like 15 years. So 781 says, pompous fool. Years ago when he was in the Senate, I noticed he and Barney Frank, the congressman, Hot Bottom's better half, on a return flight from D.C. Like me, Barney was sitting in coach, but not John Forbes Kerry. The bum was sitting in first class, taking up 2 seats in his page, waiting on him, feeding him drinks. Yeah, I've heard that story from a lot of people. A lot of people. He would just go right to, people would be waiting in line to get on the shuttle to D.C. or vice versa, D.C. to Boston, and he would just go right to the front. No waiting in line for John Forbes Kerry. Jim, you're next. And he had very short arms too, if you know what I mean. Jim, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call, Howie. I want to change the subject from one more on to another, I guess. But I'm curious, has anybody looked into what happens to these contracts that were awarded to complete the Keystone Pipeline? I mean, these contractors have contracts to finish the pipeline. They're going to get paid. They have to be guaranteed by somebody, either the government or the taxpayers, or does it just hit us all at the pump when the oil?
That's a really good question, Jim. And I've heard people speculating that there are going to be all kinds of lawsuits on this, because didn't the government give people contracts to build this? How can you just suddenly renege on a signed contract?
Well, I'm a pretty small guy, a two-man person. I run a small business, and when I sign a contract with somebody, I expect them to follow through,
Right, and you're expected to follow through. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work, and for them to be saying that, just become an electrician, like you can switch over from being a pipe fitter to being an electrician over the course of the weekend. It's absurd. And the only people who would say that are idiots like John Forbes Kerry or Joe Biden, who, when you get right down to it, have never had a real job in their damn lives. Kerry's job is a gigolo, and Joe Biden's job is just being a windbag, a blowhard, a below-average blowhard. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Howie, I'm really glad that you're talking about this. We have no shot with guys like John Kerry.
No, we don't. Talk about a guy who's out of touch with working Americans. I'm Howie Carr. If you're thinking of replacing your carpets due to pet stains and odors, you must try Genesis 950. Genesis 950 was my go-to product for Mr. Gooner. The reviews are amazing, as this is one product that actually works. With water, it breaks down the bonds of stains so they're gone for good. Its antibacterial component removes pet odors from carpet and padding. It can be used in a carpet cleaning machine. Genesis 950 is made here in America. It's a concentrate, so 1 gallon makes up to 7 gallons of cleaner. But Genesis 950 is not just for pet stains. I brought it to my daughter Carolyn's new home, and she loved the results. Use it in kitchens, on floors, upholstery, and on on grease stains. Consider trying Genesis 950 before purchasing new carpets. It's green, so it's safe for your family and pets. Genesis 950 has great customer service. Order 1 gallon direct at genesis950.com to receive a free spray bottle, free shipping, and a $10 coupon using code Howie. Coupon only available on purchase of 1 gallon. That's genesis950.com. Genesis 950, much cheaper than replacing your carpets.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was. There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus. I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again. We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that. I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned. The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
You know, I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared, and a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent,
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment? Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's 1 minute of getting to know Jared Diglio. What would be your last meal on Earth?
Pizza. Cheese pizza. Just regular cheese pizza.
What drink are you going to have with your pizza?
I gotta go Coke.
Any luck with Kevin Gill?
Perfect combination.
Where's your favorite vacation spot?
I'm a staycation kind of guy. I like just staying in my place, but if I had to go to a destination, I love Italy, especially Rome.
If you could live in any state besides Massachusetts, which one would you choose?
Nevada. Wide open land, people leave you alone. Plus, it's not that far from Vegas or LA.
If you weren't in radio, what profession would you be in?
Gigolo.
Favorite comic book character?
Spider-Man. He's been my favorite since I was a kid. He's the most identifiable of the superheroes. He's just kind of a normal guy who's got a lot of problems, but he's got to overcome it and save the day.
Favorite Star Trek character?
I love TNG, but I got to go with James T. Kirk.
Dogs or cats?
Neither.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Chocolate, candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here.
Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean,
Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
what do you think is...
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
What exactly did you mean when you said that the enemy is within? What exactly did
It means that we have members of Congress who want to bring guns on the floor and have threatened violence on other members of Congress.
Seems like an overreaction.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Thank you for your leadership during these trying times. In the darkest days of the pandemic, your daily briefings live from New York gave us hope, gave us clarity, gave us the truth, and gave us something that we were not getting from Washington. Leadership.
What?
I was trying to think of something that I could say to you.
It's a tragedy. And I understand. Look, whether a person died in a hospital or died in a nursing home, people died. People died.
Hey, now is not the time for your cold-hearted analysis.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. We got a lot to get to in this hour. In the 5 o'clock hour, we'll be doing the Chump Line and Police Blotter Facts Friday. And in the 6 o'clock hour, we'll be doing Dr. Matt, the vet. We'll be having his monthly visit to the Howie Carr Show, and he'll be answering your questions about your dog or your cat or your iguana or your parrot, whatever your pet is. Although he's better at dogs and cats than he is at parrots and iguanas, I think, as he would be the first to concede. And I want to talk a little bit about GameStop today, too. They tried to ask Joe Biden about it today, and you can imagine how far they got. But the first thing I do want to play, we have so many cuts about from Andrew Cuomo, and we played a lot of them in the first hour, but I want to play one more, which would be the lead story across the nation on all the news, all the national newscasts anyway, and certainly all the newscasts in the Northeast, if a Republican had said this. And then I want to play some of the bum kissing that has been going on with the celebs of Andrew Cuomo, who I think we all knew that New York had an even higher nursing home death toll rate than Massachusetts. But at least Charlie Parker was giving a more honest account. I'm not saying it was totally honest, but it was less dishonest, I think, than Andrew Cuomo's. But anyway, this is Cuomo today at his press conference in Albany, responding to the scathing report by the Attorney General, who's also a Democrat and probably wants to run for governor. Can you imagine that Schumer and Cuomo could be facing AOC and this woman, Letitia James? Talk about a tough choice. A pick'em, if you were a voter in New York. I think the answer would be you flee if you haven't already fled the state. Many people have already fled the state. They continue fleeing, just like Massachusetts, just like Connecticut, like Rhode Island. Cut 27.
A third of all deaths in this nation are from nursing homes. New York State, we're only about 28% only. But we're below the national average in number of deaths in nursing homes. But who cares? 33, 28, died in a hospital, died in a nursing home. They died.
Want me to write the wood, as they say in tabloids, the front page headline? Cuomo, who cares? ... They died. You may see that in the New York Post, but you won't see it anywhere else, that's for sure. But that's the natural headline. It's like when Ford to New York, dropped dead. This is the same thing. Cuomo to elderly, dropped dead. But again, you won't see it, will you? Because Ford was a Republican. Cuomo's a Democrat. He has immunity. How much immunity does he have? Let's play some of the cuts of this is Ben Stiller kissing Cuomo's rear end, talking about Chris Cuomo, cut 15.
Now that you're the love gov, you've kind of transcended politics, and now you're just part of really more, you're more of like a national sex symbol. He says you'll probably get more dates than votes. That's him saying that, not me.
A national sex symbol. How about Bobby De Niro? Another fake tough guy from one fake tough guy to another. Cut 17.
At least we have a person who is very capable, a very capable backup, if you will, not vice president, but if something would change, which we God forbid nothing will change, he would be he's doing a great job. He's doing what any president should do.
Killing old people? Is that what a president does? Bobby De Niro? Okay, how about Rosie Perez getting in on the slobbering wet kiss? Cut 18.
You did your thing during COVID. New York was suffering. We were the epicenter. We were all in a crisis, in a panic, and every single day you came on the airways and you offered your strength, your leadership, and your direction, and your caring and your heart.
Caring? Wait a second. Did I not just hear him say, who cares? They died? How about Billy Crystal? How about a little Billy Crystal unsafe smooching going on here. Cut 19.
In the darkest days of the pandemic, your daily briefings live from New York gave us hope, gave us clarity, gave us the truth, and gave us something that we were not getting from Washington: leadership.
The truth. I love that. They made up the statistics about the nursing homes. They lied. That's the truth. That's the truth. This is really 1984 here. 774.
Most of those actors in about 15 years are going to end up in a nursing home anyway, so they might want to watch out whose side they're on.
I think with De Niro, it's a lot closer than 15 years away.
Oh, I was being generous with Rosie Perez.
Cuomo can say, who cares, they died without any issue. But Trump says it is what it is and is the most evil man ever. Yeah, I know. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Just looking to see if we have any. But of course, he's a victim. Who cares? They died. But it's still Trump's fault, even though it's now public record that he lied about the nursing home death toll. Cut 31.
But then to play politics with it the way they did, that was mean. That was mean.
That was mean. That was mean. Let me just read you a little bit of Janice Dean before we move on. This is the Fox and Friends weather woman, the meteorologist, and her in-laws died in a nursing home in Brooklyn because they sent in COVID-19 positive patients into the nursing home. Cuomo did. There's a truth that the media and others who fawned over Governor Cuomo didn't want to hear, that his executive orders were one of the biggest reasons why so many of our parents and grandparents died of COVID in their elder care facilities. We lost more seniors from COVID in nursing homes than 9/11 and Hurricane Katrina combined. That includes my husband's parents, Mickey and Dee Newman. Why didn't this fact spark outrage? This administration, meaning Cuomo, has been doing everything it could to keep that information hidden by blaming, bullying, lying, and covering up. I was warned to watch my back and to be careful. Meanwhile, our grieving families continued to watch the mainstream media outlets fawn over him. You know, kind of like the ones in Providence do over Raimondo, or in Boston over Parker, or in Portland and over in Bangor over Mills. It happens everywhere. Fawning over him and never asking the questions we so desperately wanted to know the answers to. Why did he write that executive order to bring infected patients into nursing homes? Why was he covering up the total number of seniors who died, including those who passed away in the hospital? We never heard the answers. Instead, we watched him promote and celebrate himself, write his leadership book, and win an Emmy Award. It was infuriating, frustrating, soul-crushing. I do hope we see a full investigation into the nursing home massacre here in New York. I think that's the right word, massacre. Governor Cuomo said this week in an interview on one of the channels that never ask him questions about the nursing home tragedy. Incompetent government kills people. More people died than needed to die in COVID. That's the truth. Turns out he was talking about himself. And again, this isn't just Janice Dean and a handful of Republicans saying this. This is Democrats in the legislature. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. I'm Howie Carr.
If you change the station, the Moonbats win. You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Great news. The Gen 40 heater is back and just in time for the really cold weather. Oil prices are going to go up. The Keystone XL pipeline has been stopped. 35 million gallons of oil a day are gone. Now there is a new moratorium on fracking on federal land. That affects natural gas. It was 10 degrees in parts of New England this past week. This thing keeps popping back to where it was. It doesn't stay up where it was. The Gen 40 performs like no heater I've ever used. Yeah, the text is
remarkable.
It just keeps staying down
Pure
here.
Gen 40
I
makes you
can't-
feel warmer than your
I keep
furnace,
pushing
and
it
it
down here,
also
but it's
costs
gonna
less
jump
to run.
back.
You may be working from home now, and you will need to pay close attention to your heating bills. The Eden Pure Gen 40 will pay for itself in a matter of weeks. Go to EdenPure.com, put in code word Howie Deal to get $50 off the sale price. That's EdenPure.com and use code word Howie Deal for an extra $50 off. These heaters are in high demand, so go right now to EdenPure.com.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys. Angry white man.
Angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote. All these angry white people. Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's insult.
Tolerated a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist. The credulous boomer rube demo. Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of the
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can also see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice.
Taylor, thanks for getting those celeb cuts.
Little I detect.
That was pretty easy. Most of them were all wrapped into that Emmys promo that he had.
Oh, boy. That is just nauseating, though, you know?
It sure is.
Hearing credit to his dying day, if ever he lives that long.
Howie Carr is back.
Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. For all your house odors, you need the Eden Pure Air Purifier. Through Sunday, January 31st, BOGO is back. Buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one free. Go to EdenPure.com and use code word HowieBOGO. That's one word, HowieBOGO. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
As climate czar, how will John Kerry travel? By commercial jet, government jet, or the flying squirrel?
I think the only reason he took the job, or the main reason he took the job, was the jet, the government jet.
67% say the government jet. 31% say the flying squirrel.
I know that his second wife's first husband's trust fund has more money than God, but he wouldn't pay a nickel to see an earthquake. He tosses around quarters like they were manhole covers, even now. So he wants the the free ride. He's had a free ride his entire life. He's going to go out the way he came in, on a free ride. 844-500-4242. We'll take some calls here, but I want to play the cut of the president of the United States being asked about GameStop. Now, imagine if Joe Biden knew anything about GameStop. It's not possible. But here's the press to Biden. Cut 35.
So thank you all very much.
Thank you, guys.
Did you discuss GameStop?
Let's go. Thank you. Thank you. Come on, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Huh?
Did you discuss GameStop?
Let's go.
Huh?
Thank you. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you.
Did you discuss game? Huh? What did you say? So this was yesterday. He was using note cards to make extemporaneous statements at the White House. And he stumbles over who the president of the United States is, in addition to coughing. Cut 34.
The second order I'm going to be signing also changes what the president has done, what former president has done, and that a memorandum reversed my predecessor's attack on women's health access, and as we continue to battle COVID-19.
781 says, will the new jet for Sarg Carey be registered in Rhode Island to avoid taxes? This Gulfstream aerospace will be a bargain. Yes, it will. Yes, it just like the Big Dig Tunnel. Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
Howie, I'm really disappointed how you're disparaging John Kerry, man of the people. When he was running for president, he used to go windsurfing with electricians.
I was thinking about, I'm going to mention that in my column on Sunday. He understands the plight of the laid off Keystone XL pipeline workers, because those are the same type of guys he used to windsurf with, right? And Bob, they're also the same guys that he used to hunt the fabled 24-point buck on the Cape with. No one's ever seen a 24-point buck except for him. They're also the people that he ran the Boston Marathon with way back when. He's the only guy who ever ran the Boston Marathon and can't remember the year that he ran the Boston Marathon in. But you're right. He's definitely a man of the people. 978 says he was on CNN or some network yesterday bragging about how he drove to D.C. in an electric car, a Tesla. I mean, did he really drive, or did Jeeves drive for him? The guy probably hasn't driven himself in 30 years. I didn't hear that. I'd love to hear that cut, Taylor, if you can find it. John Kerry talking about driving him. John Kerry on I-95 heading south in a Tesla or anything. No, that's what the Flying Squirrel was made for. Even though it's not perhaps as fashionable as the other jets at the Martha's Vineyard Airport or the one in Sun Valley. But still, it's better than flying cattle car with the hoi polloi. Jack, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jack.
Hi, Howie. I saw on the news that a judge down in Virginia ruled that their election rules were violated. The whole thing, accepted ballots 3 days late.
Right. I think he said in the future they couldn't accept ballots that didn't have post the election that weren't postmarked. Isn't that what he said?
Well, I don't know about that. Everybody seems to be saying, "Oh, we got to fix this for the future." What about right now? I mean, if it comes out, Arizona's still working on an investigation. If it comes out that they did steal it, it's proven that they stole it. Is there any recourse against this guy?
I know, Jack. It's very frustrating, isn't it? But I mean, the reality is, no. There's no need to delude ourselves into thinking that Trump's going to get back into office. I mean, we've got to ride out this nightmare for a few years anyway. I mean, the first order of business is getting control of Congress to stop all this nonsense that's going through, like, quote unquote, reforming the Supreme Court or giving statehood to Puerto Rico so they get two more woke leftists in the U.S. Senate, and then or is it D.C. first? Is it D.C. or Puerto? It's D.C. first, and then Puerto Rico. No, don't get your hopes up, Jack. It's not going to happen. Then the time has come and gone. It's like getting our hopes up now for putting some of the Russiagate conspirators in jail rather than the CNN and MSNBC green rooms. It's not going to happen. 844-500-4242. Mark, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mark.
Mentioned a Tesla, right? Those things only have a range of 80 miles. So how many times did he have to stop over to charge it at a coal-fired?
Yeah, could you see him? Yeah, you know what? Now that you mention him, Mark, can you see him at a rest stop on the New Jersey Turnpike or the Garden State Thruway? Just sitting there, having a hot dog while the Tesla recharges its batteries. I don't see that in John Kerry's life. Do you?
Can I get out of here, please?
Absolutely not. He's out of control.
I know he is. The climate. He called it the climate. I mean, whatever's wrong with Joe Biden has spread. It's contagious. It's spread to Schumer. It's spread to Psaki. It's spread to Kerry. The climate. 844-500-4242. 617.
During the campaign, when we sat down to bring the Bernie Sanders folks together around the Biden climate plan.
Let me hear that quote. We'll play that again when we come back. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Biden climate plan.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
The Kathy Ireland Gem Spa was one of the hottest selling gifts this holiday season. This Valentine's Day, give a gift that will provide a lifetime of sparkling clean jewelry. I use mine every week and my jewelry looks amazing. I had no idea how dirty my jewelry was until I started cleaning it with the Gem Spa. I bought one for my mom and for my aunts. Join the clean jewelry revolution. Get yours now. Go to mygemspa.com, use promo code GRACE and save 20%. That's mygemspa.com, promo code GRACE and save 20%.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
You've been hearing me talk about super beats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beats? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beats. Beats have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
We are now, effective today, requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
Here are some rapid fire questions with Taylor Cormier. If you had to live in a state besides Massachusetts, which would you choose?
Montana. No question about it. When is the last time you've heard of anything happening in Montana? The answer is you haven't. It's quiet. Nobody's going to bother you in Montana.
If you weren't a radio guy, what profession would you be in?
My number one dream job is to be an antique dealer. You know, like the American Pickers. I would love that job. Going through people's old garbage and junk and trying to find that diamond in the rough, and you're always learning as you go. It's a lot of fun to watch, and I think that's why I go antiquing on the weekends.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite TV show?
The Honeymooners. Jackie Gleason is the most hilarious person on television ever.
What is your favorite soda?
I'm not a big soda guy. It's got to be a special occasion for me to drink soda, but I'm partial to Dr. Pepper.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Limerick guy says, H, I texted you yesterday and told you Live Shot said planet plan. You know, one thing I like, the only thing I like about the Biden administration so far is they post transcripts of all of the appearances of all these clowns, whether it's Gina McCarthy or John Kerry or Yellen. And, you know, when Biden is there, when he says 300, they put in parentheses, million. They you know, they haven't been totally making it up. But I found some great quotes that I thank God I or Taylor doesn't have to go through everything that he said. And one of the things that he said was he was talking about, this was on Wednesday, no political person in the future would be able to undo what the planet is going to be organizing over the next months and years. The planet itself is going to be organizing here to save itself. I don't know, the planet doesn't seem to be very well organized, though, in what it's doing, because it only seems to be concerned with reducing carbon emissions in the United States of America, and we're 15, by Kerry's own account, we're only 15% of the world's carbon emissions, and it's not going to make a damn bit of difference. But, you know, go tell it to the planet. Taylor, can you see if you can get the planet on for Monday on the show?
I don't think the planet's listed anywhere.
Well, John Kerry seems to have its number. He says the planet is going to be organizing over the next months and years.
Does the planet have a Gmail address I can write to?
Someone says the John Kerry clip of him talking about the Tesla was on Laura last night, Laura Ingraham. See, I Googled it during the break, and the nearest thing I could come up with was him saying, Tesla is has the biggest capitalization of any automobile company in the world. But let's see if we can find that, the cut of him talking about driving the Tesla. Now, here was the classic John Kerry quote, though, from the appearance at the White House on Wednesday. How John Kerry is this? It's urgent that we find a way to compartmentalize to move forward, and we'll wait and see. And in the meantime, I'll have a Chateaubriand with a Burgundy and a Bordeaux. Compartmentalized to move forward. Boy, that will save the planet. No question about it. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. I just want to read, we're talking about Cuomo. One last thing about Cuomo and about how he gets away with it, about how all these blue state governors get away with destroying the economy, blaming Trump, and just walking away with zero consequences whatsoever. I've been saving this quote for a while. This is from a guy named Jacob Siegel in Talbot Magazine. And he wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago, actually a month ago, 2020, the year the elites failed upwards. It's really a good piece. The iron law of the American elite is that as long as everyone fails together, everyone fails upwards. Today, think Cuomo, think Kerry. But every day, there's new poster boys for failing upwards. Regime loyalty is the herd immunity of the ruling class, a protection against the consequences of their own failures. This is why the loss in authority that manifests in the quote-unquote crisis of experts, meaning the experts don't know what the hell they're talking about, as we've seen through COVID, while real, doesn't diminish their power in the least. But it's also why the regime has to become more ideological and nakedly coercive. Think Parler being banned. Think Trump being banned from everywhere. Think Facebook today cutting off ads for the recall of Gavin Newsom. Could you be any more ideological and nakedly coercive than that?
I've got the Kerry cut.
For a kingdom of experts without reliable expertise falls back on propaganda and state power. Thank goodness for our listeners telling us where to find these great cuts. Here is John Kerry talking about his new automobile.
I had the pleasure of driving down to the inauguration in an electric car, in a Tesla, back down to Washington and back to the Massachusetts. And it was great. I loved it.
That's even better than I thought. I left Washington and went back to the United. Say what you will about Massachusetts. It's more the United States than Washington, D.C. is. That's great. Can you send me that, Taylor? That's a great one.
Absolutely.
How many? Does anyone know for sure how many miles a Tesla has in its battery? I would think you would have to stop at some point between D.C. and Massachusetts, wouldn't you? 844-500-4242. Harry, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Harry.
Hey, Howie.
Hi.
It's been a while since we talked, but I just had a little story to share with you. Yesterday, I was sitting here, and my friend from North Falmouth called me, and he had been going down a little fish market there in North Falmouth, and this Tesla pulled up in front of him, and a guy, big tall guy, gets out with a bomber jacket with all kinds of patches all over it, and guess who it was?
He really does have a Tesla? Is that you tell it? He's not lying about that?
Well, here's the story. On the back of the Tesla is dealer plates.
Did he get pictures?
By the way, I looked it up yesterday after I heard him say that last night on the Laura Ingraham show. It gets about 300, and the best Tesla gets around 400. So he would have had to stop somewhere for whatever time. I don't know how long it takes to charge those things, but he would have had to stop somewhere to. I don't see him doing that.
I really don't. As many times when I was a kid and in college, and I'd be going back and forth between Massachusetts and North Carolina, how many times I stopped on those rest areas in the on the Howard to get some Howard Johnson's Eats on the New Jersey Turnpike. That's just not a John Kerry type of thing. I think they got one named after Howard Stern now, don't they?
Ask him if he has pictures.
Do you have any, Harry? Did you happen to take any pictures of the dealer plates?
Well, see, it wasn't me. I told you it was a friend of mine who lives in North Falmouth. I've been telling him all morning. I was saying, "You got to call Howie." I think he's a little gun shy, so I just thought I'd call for him.
Tell him again. Give your number to Alex or Matt will take your number, and if he gets it, just send them to those guys, and we would love to have those. I mean, that's classic though, isn't it? A dealer plate. You're only supposed to drive dealer plates, for a restricted amount of time. It's kind of like registering the boat. When his Mama T bought him the yacht, the $7 million yacht from New Zealand, to make up for his loss in the 2004 presidential race, and then he registered it in Newport to beat the excise tax in the town of Nantucket because that's where he lived at the time. Having dealer plates on your car is like the same thing. Who knew Bob Brest was selling a Tesla? No, Bob Brest is gone, I know, but he used to get his Buicks on the Linway from Bob Brest. That's kind of an inside joke for the old timers and the Boston crowd.
See, there's only 4 Tesla dealers in Massachusetts. Should be easy to track down where he got it from.
Where are they located?
One's in Boston, one in Dedham, one out in Framingham, and one in Peabody.
I'm going to say it's got to be Boston. It's got to be the Boston dealer. He's not in any of those other towns, I guarantee you. Those aren't John Kerry towns. Frank, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Howie, how you doing?
Good.
I just wanted to mention something about the censorship that's been going on in this country with the Twitter, Facebook, and Amazon, etc.
Right.
There's more to come.
Oh, I agree.
So there is this company called Twilio. This Twilio company, he bought another company called SendGrid, and what they're in the business of mass emailing, mass SMSing, the people, and processing all those text messages. And
yeah,
all those
I don't know about that, Frank. I don't want to get into the weeds on this stuff. I don't know these companies' names, but thanks for the call. Nick, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Howie, how are you doing?
Good.
Hey, regarding COVID-19, in 2014, Obama put a ban on something called gain-of-function research. What that entails is taking existing viruses, creating new ones, with the objective, supposedly, of finding out how to deal with these things. Interesting that he put that ban on in 2014. Okay, still, nevertheless, research was going on at the Wuhan lab.
I know. I don't want to get into the conspiracy theories here this afternoon on a Friday afternoon. But thanks for the call, Nick. Dave, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dave.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Frank. You mentioned just a few minutes ago about the Buicks. I had reliable sources years ago. I don't know what capacity Mr. Kerry was in, but I believe he drove Buicks and he didn't pay for them.
That is correct, sir. It was Bob Brest Buick. He was the one who was driving. Bob Brest Buick. Bob Brest was giving the gratis, the comp Buicks to everybody. Yeah, that's it. That is a fact. Well, I want to play a cut from Nancy Pelosi. Now we heard Biden has no clue about GameStop, what's going on. Here's Nancy Pelosi, who's even older than Joe Biden. She's asked about GameStop. Cut 38.
One more question. Does Congress have any role in this GameStop stock manipulation issue that's going on Wall Street right now?
Well, I understand. Interesting, isn't it? I understand that the administration is taking a look. The SEC is taking a look at what that is. But we'll all be reviewing it. But interesting. It's interesting, yeah.
In other words, I don't have a clue what's going on, and I don't really care. 844-500-42 42. James says, regardless of our personal beliefs, wouldn't it have been smarter to keep our energy independence until we could transfer to green energy? Yes, that's obvious. We all agree on that, don't we? I don't see how transferring our energy independence to the Middle East while we can't fully go green benefits us at all. I think everybody feels that way.
Howie, did you hear that Jen Psaki actually circled back with somebody today? Yeah, prepare to hear some rustling papers here. As Rush Limbaugh calls this his stack of stuff. She just calls it total confusion. Here it is.
Groups be used at vaccination centers when they get stood up across the country. Does the White House support that request?
I did ask our team about this. You or someone else may have asked about this the other day, and I think I have something on it here. One moment. Thanks for your patience. Lots to say about COVID, no doubt about it.
Just keep tap dancing.
Let's see. Let me talk to our team about it.
Thank you. The realistic max range of a Tesla equipped with their best battery is about 350 miles if very carefully driven. I don't think John Kerry wants to be the guy that runs out of juice and has to pull over to the side of the road. That's even more unlikely than him stopping to recharge at at one of the garden spots on the New Jersey Turnpike. 844-500-4242. Hit refresh on your dinner routine in 2021 with HelloFresh. Right now, you can take advantage of their limited time New Year's sale and see why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. The weekend is almost here, and now I'm going to be making tomorrow night my mozzarella burgers that came in the kit. I also
How excited are you?
I am very excited. Mozzarella burgers sounds great.
Are you still going to put cheese on top?
Of course I am.
That's what I thought.
Of course I am. HelloFresh gives you simple recipes and fresh ingredients sourced directly from growers and delivered to your door contact-free. With more than 23 weekly recipes, including mozzarella burgers, there's something for everyone to enjoy, including family-friendly vegetarian and low-calorie options. Say goodbye to never-ending meal planning and prepping. HelloFresh recipe cards are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures. You can get meals on the table in as little as 20 minutes. Plus, by skipping the grocery store, you could save up to 40% on groceries, cut food waste by 25%, save time so you have more time to spend with your loved ones. And when you use HelloFresh, you don't have to worry about going to the grocery store dealing with masks and Karens. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals across 4 boxes, including free shipping on your first box during HelloFresh's New Year sale. For a limited time only, go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals. HelloFresh.com. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the maestro of microaggression. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Old New England Soap. From bath bombs to candles for her and shave soap for him, Old New England Soap has what you need for Valentine's Day. Order today at oldnesoap.com.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II. I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Leave the gun. Technical knowledge. The Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. I just looked it up. The distance between Boston and Washington, D.C. is 439 miles. So, yeah, that's a little more than a Tesla battery has the power to go. So what did he do? Someone suggested maybe he had a second Tesla airlifted down, and he just picked that up somewhere in New Jersey or Delaware, something like that. That's a possibility too, 84 Jay from Chelsea, John Kerry. Can I get me a really long extension cord? Cord here. 84. Rich, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, you just stole my thunder, Howie. I said to the screener, I said he set it up like a relay. He dropped off the dead one at another car dealership and picked one up that was all juiced up and ready to go.
It's so convenient to have an electric vehicle, right? I mean, that's who doesn't like to just, run out of juice after 400 miles and then just have to pull off to the side of the road. It's great.
After all, Howie, don't you know who I am?
Thanks for the call, Rich. David, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, David.
Hey, Howie. I was just talking about Cuomo.
Yes.
And his antics. And if it wasn't so serious, it'd be laughable. This guy, he murders people, like you said, and he did. He's responsible for all those. Because we can ask, and you've had her on your show, Janice Dean from Fox News.
Right.
The weather person. And her mother-in-law and
father-in-law
were murdered by this guy. And they know it. And nobody does anything. They coddle him, the media, like he's a celebrity of some kind.
He is a celebrity.
Over him, like you say.
He is, David. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you heard those sound cuts we had from the other celebs. That was promoting his book. I mean, can you imagine the audacity to turn in this pathetic, horrible performance, maybe even a worse performance as governor than Charlie Baker or Phil Murphy or Gretchen Whitmer or Gavin Newsom and then write a book about it and take all these bows like you're the most wonderful person in the world, and they're saying you're a sex symbol because he went on TV every day up in Albany and blamed President Trump, and now he says who cares? They died. Who cares? They died. And as the earlier texter said, Trump said it is what it is, and he was the world's worst human being. 844-500-4242. 413. Picture this: a Tesla going down the highway connected to a Ford F-150 by an extension cord. I want some pictures of him in that Tesla. In Falmouth or on I-95. I'm Howie Carr.
Congratulations, New England. You did it. You made it through 2 months of torturous, nonstop, ear-jarring, teeth-clenching, blood pressure-raising radio noise. Those nerve-grating Matthews carols are now just a distant memory, echoing through the canyons of your mind with no sugary aftertaste. But it's a whole new year, and we've come up with whole new ways to annoy you. For example, remember those Matthews carols you thought were just a distant memory echoing through the canyons of your mind? Well, guess what? They're now and forevermore sitting fat, dumb, and happy on the video portion of our wicked awesome website, MatthewsBrothers.com. But they're not the only videos we have out there. We also have videos on such useful topics as understanding condensation, how to properly install one of our windows, and even a video on how to get the sash back into the frame once you've accidentally removed it and there's a storm coming and the factory is closed and your wife is yelling at you to fix it now. We even got one of those. You can learn more about our wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
He's the first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I may not make it through this story, and I told a story about a fisherman that I met in New Bedford. He's coming off the boat. He's a big, huge man, completely soaked in sweat and salt water.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he started to cry, and I gave him a hug. He was a big, huge guy. It was like hugging a mountain. And then he said, "See those two kids up there?" And he said, "Those are my sons." They were both spectacular football players at New Bedford High School who were given college scholarships, and I ruined their lives. And you hear those kinds of stories every day.
And they are the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money. Yes.
Will you send me that Kerry cut?
I already did.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. Code Howie and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
Your teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble with some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall. Anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Jack. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us. I think it's up to 30,000 people have died. Over 600,000 dead, 600 plus thousand people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people. Now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion. 500,000. 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having two classes of 12, for example. In the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, the Oval back in May 2019, a $15 million or $15,000, $15 minimum wage. I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious BIG t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive.
Tupac.
He's not alive. You say he lives on.
Not alive. I know. I keep doing that.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
What exactly did you mean when you said that the enemy is within? What exactly did
It means that we have members of Congress who want to bring guns on the floor and have threatened violence on other members of Congress.
Seems like an overreaction.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Thank you for your leadership during these trying times. In the darkest days of the pandemic, your daily briefings live from New York gave us hope, gave us clarity, gave us the truth, and gave us something that we were not getting from Washington. Leadership.
What?
I was trying to think of something that I could say to you.
It's a tragedy, and I understand. Look, whether a person died in a hospital or died in a nursing home, people died. People died.
Hey, now is not the time for your cold-hearted analysis.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. You know, AOC is so concerned about her safety in the Capitol. But she's still a lot safer when she's with her Republican colleagues than she would be in a nursing home that is regulated by Andrew Cuomo in her home state of New York. 844-500-4242. You notice how the Democrats now are very concerned about conspiracy theories after they promoted one, a totally false one, fabricated, concocted by Hillary Clinton's dirty tricksters, the Russian collusion hoax. Now they're concerned there are too many conspiracy theories out there. 844-500-4242. This is from Daniel Horowitz, and he sums up what's happened with GameStop pretty well. If you are not a member of the ruling oligarchy, you can buy a stock only when it benefits the ruling oligarchy, but not when the oligarch shorted the stock and will lose money. In that case, you can only sell. They, the esteemed members of the system, on the other hand, can do what they want at any point to win the rigged game. That was essentially the lesson the American people learned this week about our government corporate manipulated economy when the oligarchs got together to block people from buying stocks like GameStop after the well-connected Wall Street hedge funds were slated to use billions on their short sale gamble. By the way, the one of the companies that was hit hardest is run by a guy named Gabe Plotnick. Gabe Plotnick bought a little getaway for himself in Miami Beach last fall. Taylor, you want to know how much he paid?
I'm going to say $2 million.
$44 million.
Oh, that's a little bit more than I anticipated.
$44 million. You know, $2 million in those neighborhoods isn't even a starter tool shed, let alone a starter home. Time now for the chump line.
Loving. Can you believe that Chuck Schilling whining about the Hall of Fame? I don't care if he hit a three-pointer with a bloody shirt at Lambert Field. No Trump supporter has any place at Coopersville. So let's not get silly here.
That message was dictated from the backseat of a Tesla. And the Tesla was riding on top of a diesel-fueled flatbed pickup truck. That's from Officer Mark. I think he's probably right. Number one, I can't see Kerry driving the 439 miles. And number two, how did he get down there without a charge? And number three, do we really think John Kerry just twiddled his thumbs at a gas station somewhere where it was charged up?
Cuomo saying they did the best they could on nursing home deaths is kind of like Biden saying they had the best voter fraud organization going.
It's been debunked, okay? Polyfact or Snopes or one of those places said about Biden's remark that they had the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in American political history. It's been debunked. He said it, but it's been debunked. Now just shut up and don't try to short out any oligarchs, because they gave big money to Joe Biden and they own a $44 million mansion in Miami Beach, you damn deplorables.
Copy.
The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, reminding President Biden that while he and the good doctor redecorate the White House, they could save energy and increase the property value by putting in some of our wicked awesome windows and doors.
40 executive orders in 9 days. This is what actual authoritarians look like.
Exactly. How bad is it when the New York Times tells you to stop it? You know, in a very chummy, collegial way, putting Joe in the headline. But still, even the New York Times, the authoritarians at the New York Times know something is amiss.
She's known as Circleback Sacky, a know-nothing, moonbat lackey. Just the fact she's part of Plug's Act is more proof the left has gone wacky.
I was looking up her husband. Someone said he thought that the husband worked for Citadel, which was another one of those companies like Plotniks that got caught short, shall we say, in the GameStop adventure. And I couldn't find him with Citadel, but his name is Gregory Metcher, and he used to be the chief of staff to Joe Kennedy, the bust-out, extinguished congressman from Massachusetts.
It's interesting because there's a Jeff Psaki that works for Citadel. Same spelling.
But it's Jeff, not Gregory, right? Gregory is her husband's
Well, Gregory is a completely different last name, isn't it?
No, Gregory Metcher is his name. Mecher.
Right. I'm talking about a man named Jeff Psaki.
Oh, Jeff Psaki? Oh,
Yes.
Okay. No, I don't know. I just looked on Wikipedia, and everybody seemed to agree that she was married to this guy named Metcher. I guess that's why that's the confusion, that this guy's Psaki. Maybe that's her brother.
Can I get me some solar panel makers here, please?
Well, I think first, though, I need an extension cord. Because Pete from Rentham says, also note that all electric vehicles get reduced range in cold weather, which it's been very cold lately. Well, what was it last week, though? That's when he said he drove it down. Batteries don't like temperature extremes. No way Kerry made it to D.C. on one charge.
Joe Biden said he doesn't have an opinion on short selling, but he does believe midgets should have access to the stock market.
He has no comment on short selling as long as the big guy gets his 50%.
When Press Secretary Psaki was asked if the Biden administration's slogan is Build Back Better or Broke Back Better, her response was Circle Back Better.
Watch out. Brokeback. Can't say anything bad about Brokeback Mountain, or you'll be charged with a hate crime.
Howie, Joe Biden calling. Come on, man. You asked if that was Jen Psaki's real hair color? Well, of course it is. I just snipped it the other day. I mean it.
I'm going to circle back with you on that one, Mr. President.
Start spreading the news. I am not to blame. Old people die every day in New York, New York.
We'll play the cut after the break where he says, "Who cares? They died." Again, that would be a major, major headline if a Republican ever said something like that. A Democrat said it, so nothing to see here, folks. Move along.
Dr. Fauci, I'm starting to think he's as much of a doctor as Dr. Joe Biden.
I think he does have a MD, but On the other hand, I don't think he's practiced a lot. He went into the bureaucracy in 1968 when Lyndon Baines Johnson was still president of the United States. That's a very long time. I guess he's gotten a lot of step increases over the years because he's now the highest paid employee in the federal government. $416,000 a year.
Howie, Charlie Baker calling. Yes, the vaccine distribution metrics are disappointing, but I want to assure the folks in the community that we'll get this running as smoothly as the T and the DMV. I'm going to use the New England Compounding Center as a central hub and put Annie Ducan and Sonia Farrark in charge of distribution. And if you'll just wear a mask, we'll be able to get this done faster than the Big Dig.
He worked in all of Charlie Parker's scandals into one chump line message. Good work, Governor.
I don't care if some hedge fund guys go bankrupt. I mean, they could always learn how to make solar panels.
Exactly. I couldn't have put it any better. That's exactly right. If they don't care about pipe fitters on the Keystone XL pipeline, or laborers, or coal miners, or all the people, the Indians in New Mexico that are going to lose money from their losing the oil and gas leases, why are we supposed to worry about a guy with a $44 million house in Miami Beach?
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
Did you know that when John Kerry returned the Tesla to the dealership, he threw the car over the wall? You know, like his medals. That was a good one, 603. The chump line is the voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to leave a message, do so between the hours of 1 and 4 every weekday. Dial 844-500-4242. 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the chump line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday, or we might play it on Chopped Chumps, which is the podcast that we post every night on wherever you get your Howie Carr Show podcast. Chopped Chumps. Those are the messages that ended up on the cutting room floor that you didn't hear today, but they were posted today. It's usually a pretty good chump line, that's extra chump line. The chump line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, reminding President Biden that while he and the good doctor redecorate the White House, they could save energy and increase their property value by putting in some of our wicked awesome windows and doors.
Joe Biden said he doesn't have an opinion on short selling, but he does believe midgets should have access to the stock market.
844-500-4242. Someone says that's Jen Psaki's brother, not her husband. And again, I'm sure it's not her husband if the mentions on the internet are correct. But Citadel has got badly burned too. I saw one of the companies, one of the hedge fund companies. They said they only took a 10% hit on the GameStop. It's a $3 billion company, so they lost $300 million. I guess it's nice to only be able to take a 10% hit, and it adds up to $300 million. You got $2.7 million left. Although I would think probably a lot of the investors are moving towards the exits as fast as they can. I'm Howie Carr.
Give it here, chumps. More Howie Carr after this.
It's a new year and time for a new you. DiStefano Hair Restoration changed my life, and they can change yours too. My production director said when he saw a recent pic of me that, "You look great, like Benjamin Button. You're getting younger." That's quite the compliment, and I owe it to DiStefano Hair Restoration and Dr. Chris Hines. Many wait years before they get the hair restoration they deserve. Stop waiting and just get it done. You won't regret it, and you'll ask yourself, why did you wait so long? You can see my before and after photo shoot on their site at hairman.com. Hairman.com. DiStefano Hair Restoration is taking all the necessary precautions to keep you safe during your visit. They also offer virtual consultations. Go to hairman.com today and schedule your free consultation and get the hair you deserve and have always wanted. Dr. Highness took care of me and he'll take care of you too. Visit them today at hairman.com.
We are now effective today requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
What impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You know, you can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
This wasn't on the level.
Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them.
It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado.
So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again.
So of course he's obsessed with me.
He didn't come here to be made sport of.
Funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you, I make you laugh. What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Howie Carr is here to stay.
917 says, one thing we've learned between the election and the GameStop story is that liberals don't like it when you can cheat better than them. That's a good way to put it, isn't it? Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. For all your house odors, you need the Eden Pure Air Purifier. Through Sunday, January 31st, BOGO is back. Buy one, get one free. Go to EdenPure.com and use code word Howie BOGO. Buy one, get one free. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
As climate czar, how will John Kerry travel? Commercial, government plane, flying squirrel.
And now if we knew it at the time, we would have put in Tesla.
We should have also put in pink bicycle.
Yeah, pink girly bicycle. Yes. I'm going to go for a new government jet.
Yeah, 68% say government wings are the wings for him.
And how many people say he's going to go commercial?
2%.
That's probably about the percent that have actually interacted with him on a commercial flight back in the day. And he's been married to Mama T for a long time now, so it's been a long, long time since he's been on a commercial flight with the hoi polloi like you and me. Let's play the Cuomo cut one more time, because again, you're not going to hear this on the any newscast tonight. Maybe on Fox or Newsmax, but that's about it. No, not on MSNBC or CNN or any of the alphabet networks. Cut 27.
A third of all deaths in this nation are from nursing homes. New York State, we're only about 28% only, but we're below the national average in number of deaths in nursing homes. But who cares? 33, 28, died in a hospital, died in a nursing home. They died.
But who cares? They died. I love that Democrat compassion, don't you? So remember what Trump said at the rally on January 6th. He said, go on down there and you're going to protest peacefully and patriotically. So there was an MSNBC contributor, again, I've never heard of the guy, but this is what he said about what Trump said and what it would have led to had he said it in the Middle East overseas. Cut 44.
If you took what President Trump said and you instead put it in Anwar al-Awlaki's mouth, we would be talking about a drone strike overseas. So that's one aspect with our political leaders, talking about this rhetoric.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
Did al-Awlaki ever say demonstrate peacefully and patriotically? I mean, that kind of, this guy is accusing Trump of using incendiary rhetoric when he's saying that he would have been executed, that the president of the United States would have been executed if he had said that overseas by a CIA drone strike. Is that inciting anything? Is he going to be canceled? That guy from MSNBC? No, I rather think not. 844-500-4242. Here's the fake Indian on GameStop. I love these. I love the tap dancing all these Democrats are doing on GameStop. Cut 43.
How do you know who's manipulating the stock at this point? I mean, people are liking to tell a David versus Goliath story, but are you entirely sure that's right? Are you entirely sure that there aren't wealthy people on both sides, that hedge funds haven't moved in on the side of the people who've bid up the price of GameStop?
When she was first running for the Senate, she got more money from Wall Street than any other non-incumbent in American history. And she's standing up for the people who gave her money. I'll bet Gabe Plotnick gave her a lot of money. I'll bet Jen Psaki's brother gave her a lot of money too. 844-500-4242. One of the people that made a lot of money is a guy named Kevin Gill. He's from Boston, used to work for an insurance company. He's got a wife and 2 kids, and he works out of the basement. I'm Howie Carr.
Ireland Gem Spa was one of the hottest selling gifts this holiday season. This Valentine's Day, give a gift that will provide a lifetime of sparkling clean jewelry. I use mine every week, and my jewelry looks amazing. I had no idea how dirty my jewelry was until I started cleaning it with the Gem Spa. I bought one for my mom and for my aunts. Join the clean jewelry revolution. Get yours now. Go to mygemspa.com, use promo code GRACE, and save 20%. That's mygemspa.com, promo code GRACE, and save 20%.
Liberty Safe. If you're a gun owner, you know that name because they've worked so hard to earn the title of America's #1 safe. And the area's best Liberty Safe dealer is Dependable Lock in Nashua. They have Liberty Safes in stock now. Keep your guns and other valuables locked up in a Liberty Safe. See the experts at Dependable Lock to learn more and see the full collection. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
Your teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble with some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis. They are strictly principled anti-fascists.
No organization is perfect. There was some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do not get it twisted and think that, oh, this is something that has never happened before, and this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
People get mad and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I can't tell you how many times in the past couple of months, somebody I know has told me a story.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
Somebody I know has told me a story about how they got it, and it all goes back every single time to some informal gathering where nobody wore masks, nobody kept their distance, and the virus spread.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world. But it's the only world they know.
I mean, it's pretty common at this point that that's where a big piece of this is coming from.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242 if you want to do some early shopping for Valentine's Day. Go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on store. All of our cheap bastard deals today. There are a bunch of great ones. Car washes, cryo, IVs, body wellness, all kinds of things. And the car washes are really great. And Defensive Strategies in Manchester, New Hampshire. If you buy any of our cheap bastard deals, half price for however much it is, you also get a free copy of what really happened. You don't even have to sign up for anything. It's just sent to you along with your certificate. So there's a lot of good deals out there. Do your Valentine's Day shopping early. Go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on store. All right, you know what time it is now.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action.
It's that time of the week. It's time for Police Blotter Facts Friday. All week long, we ask you to send in your funny stories or items from your local daily or weekly newspaper involving the local constabulary, the police department reacting to some menace or a naked man or whatever. And what you should do, it could be from your local paper's police column. Many papers still have the column, the police log, the police blotter. It could be a standalone story. And what you should do when you see a funny story involving the local constabulary, send it to grace@howiecarrshow.com, grace@howiecarrshow.com, or you can still use our fax numbers, 857-284-8864, 857-284-8864. And at this time, every Friday, we read the best entries of the week, and the two best entries get a nice prize. What do they get this week, Grace?
They'll be getting a copy of your book, What Really Happened.
All right, which you can get for free if you buy any kind of cheap bastard deal today only for that special offer, pre-Valentine's Day.
All right, here are the runners-up, Howie. Popeyes employee assaults coworker with chicken. 19.
Well, what else would he use? It's Popeyes, right? He's not going to hit him with a veal shank, right?
Could have been spinach at Popeyes.
19-year-old Popeyes chicken employee Trinity Hillsman and her 20-year-old brother Brennan Hillsman were charged with assault after Trinity assaulted her coworker with a piece of chicken, and her brother came back with friends to assault the victim a second time by kicking him while on the ground in the parking lot. So
wait a second, Grace, what kind of was it a drumstick, a breast, a thigh? What did she use?
It says a piece of chicken, and if I had to surmise, I would say probably a nugget of sorts.
A nugget?
You don't think they went for like a nice big tender, like a nice breast?
Well, I would say either a breast, a tender, or a nugget. I would not say a bone, because I think we would hear about it if a bone was involved, because that can make it a deadly weapon probably, right?
No, I think it would be a dangerous weapon at most. Dangerous weapon. I would think, though, the only thing that you could really hold in your hand as a cudgel or a sap would be a leg, wouldn't it?
Maybe you, if you don't think you could handle the piece of chicken, but some people are more advanced in street fighting.
I just don't think I would want to bring a chicken breast to a knife fight.
Yeah. Well, the employees fought. It's not made clear what about. The girl threw the piece of chicken, and then her brother and his friends waited by the man's car to basically jump him. And he said, the guy jumped out and said, "What's all that talking with my sister?" Then they started punching and kicking Isaac in the parking lot. I hope Isaac sues and gets some money out of this. Bank robber gave teller his actual ID during ill-fated heist.
So this is great.
They're just not making bank robbers like they used to. Somewhere
really
Whitey
not.
Bulger is rolling over in his grave thinking about the utter incompetence of the modern day bank robber.
A Chicago bank robbery suspect gave a teller his state-issued ID along with a withdrawal slip.
Wait, his state-issued ID, is that anything like an EBT card?
No, I don't think. I think it was his
I'd
real
imagine
ID.
it's a driver's license.
But why wouldn't it say a driver's license? Right? Why is it saying a state-issued ID if it's a driver's license?
That's also a state-issued ID, is it not?
I know it is, but it's very imprecise.
And that's a good question, Howie. You can look
Maybe
into
that's
that.
just how the police log had it documented.
This is why you develop sources in the police department, right, Taylor? So you can find out what was really used.
Is that a dig at me that I didn't find the source of whether or not it was an EBT or an ID?
No, I'm just saying. Taylor used to go down to the New Bedford Police Department, just like I used to go down to the Winston-Salem Police Department, and sometimes the Boston Police Department.
Edner Flores, 34, entered a PNC bank in the city's Humboldt Park section and waited in line before handing a teller a deposit ticket with the words "armed" and "no die packs." But Howie, die was
DIE?
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem. The Chicago schools have been out for a long time, and the teachers are still refusing to go back. And this is the kind of tragedies that are going to occur.
leading the quick-witted bank employee to press a silent alarm. The savvy teller then asked Flores, who was wearing a hood and a surgical mask at the time, if he wanted to make a deposit or a withdrawal. The employee then gave Flores a blue withdrawal slip on which he scrawled $10,000 and filled out his account number as 123456789 before handing it back. Flores proceeded to give his authentic ID to the teller when asked, forking over his temporary state ID card issued by the Illinois Secretary of State just days earlier.
What's his name?
Answers it. Edner Flores.
I'm going to guess it was not a legitimate driver's license under any circumstances.
I'm starting to think it might not have been either. Man covered in...
It certainly wasn't a voter ID card, says Rambo 413. Yeah, I think we can assume that safely, yes.
Man covered in lubricant pleasures himself throughout Nashville Walmart.
Throughout Nashville Walmart?
So there's this site, Howie, and it's called The Scoop Nashville, and they collect a lot of mugshots and crazy stories. And so in May of 2020, the man here, Brian Love, posted...
Brian Love was into some self-love at the Walmart?
Exactly. He posted, please don't ever let me end up on Scoop Nashville, because that's like the big site.
Right.
And so then they captioned this, Brian, today is your day. On Monday, Metro Police located 26-year-old Brian Love exposed and covered in lubricant while pleasuring himself and pushing a shopping cart through a Nashville Walmart.
And yet all these little mom and pop stores are shut down. And yet Walmart's is allowed to be open, and this kind of person using lubricant for his own unspeakable ends is allowed to run amok. Shocking.
It says he also appeared to have been watching an adult movie on his iPhone. Multitasker. Wife accused of stabbing husband after finding photos of him having sex with another woman. But that woman ended up being herself. A woman,
Oh, no.
a woman in Mexico was so blinded by jealousy that she couldn't recognize.
I bet she was blinded by something else. Maybe was tequila involved in this incident?
Or maybe she hadn't seen a recent picture and said, who's the fat broad that my husband's banging?
No, I think it's the opposite. A woman in Mexico was so blinded by jealousy that she couldn't recognize her own body before resorting to violence. The angry wife is accused of stabbing her husband after finding photos of him having sex with a much younger and slimmer woman. What she failed to realize was the mistress was herself, photographed a few years earlier. The husband tried to explain to her, I think while she was stabbing him, that he had found the photos and decided to upload them to his phone. Kind of romantic. And
what was her name?
Her name, the suspect, identified only as Leonora R.
And what's his name?
It does not say.
Okay.
They
I'm
left
going to
him
say
out
his
of
name
it.
was Pedro. Leonora said, Pedro, you got some splaining to do.
Man smashed open Gardner Museum door, tossed in painting he had earlier stolen from a Newbury Street gallery.
Wait a second. What museum was this?
The Gardner Museum.
So this is like a man bites dog story. Someone didn't steal a picture from the Gardner. They brought a picture back that they had stolen from somewhere else.
Yeah, I know. It's really odd.
Was it a Vermeer, by the way, worth $300 million?
Well, I'm getting the sense that it wasn't a real high-priced item because the man stole it and wrapped a blanket around it and then threw it back. And I guess when he stole it, okay, wait, let me break this down.
Was it a velvet Elvis? Was it stolen from a place in Wellington Circle?
Boston police report arresting a Randolph man on charges he smashed in a door at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum and left behind an object that brought the bomb and hazmat units early Saturday. Police report BPD detectives and U.S. Marshals nabbed Robert Viens, 48, at a house in Braintree on Tuesday morning. He was charged with breaking and entering with intent to commit a felony. ArtNet reports that the mystery item found by police was a blanket-wrapped painting. Police say Viens was already wanted for the theft of that painting and another item stolen from the art and gallery. After tossing the stolen paintings into the museum, he then pedaled away on his bike.
Wait, he pedaled away from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, which is in like the Fenway. He pedaled down to Braintree where he was apprehended. That's a long, cold, dangerous bike ride, isn't it?
He might be a really good bicyclist. He's not a good thief, but he might be good on a bike. Neighbor smears dog poop on Fort Lauderdale man's yard signs.
Is this another indignity that Roger Stone has had to suffer this week?
Zach Heeman says he felt he had a good relationship with his neighbor, but when the Fort Lauderdale resident posted yard signs expressing his opinion, they were smeared with dog feces. So all I wanted to know was what the sign said.
Yeah, exactly.
He explained it to the police. He said, the first one was a tolerance sign. They said that we believe all lives matter, that love is love, that feminism is everything, and that you should essentially be accepting of everybody's opinions and beliefs. The second two were just reflecting the fact that Donald Trump doesn't reflect our values.
Not very many details in that one.
Someone thinks the picture that was thrown into the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum was dogs playing cards.
Could be. Guys, by the way, Police Blotter Facts Friday, as always, is brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. Parrish man, this is Parrish, Florida, shoved Taco Bell burrito into wife's face during confrontation. A Parrish man is accused of smashing his Taco Bell order in his wife's face and up her nose during a confrontation over the weekend. She was talking to him that she was upset and depressed about an issue with her family, and she thought he was going to comfort her. And instead, he just went to Taco Bell and picked up lunch. Then when he came back, he held it in front of her face, making fun of her for being upset. The woman grabbed the burrito and threw it on the floor. This is when things got ugly. He picked up the burrito from the floor and smashed it in her face.
How do we know he wasn't using the burrito as a swab to take a COVID test?
That's true. I'm just saying, like, it's almost Valentine's Day, and people are being very, very cranky around this romantic holiday.
They're setting the bar very low.
Yes.
That's what they're doing.
Naked man goes for a run amid lockdown in London. Says he took off his clothes to wash himself.
Was there a fountain in the neighborhood?
Actually, how it's funny you should say that, because it does say everyone who saw him said he was walking down the road. He was walking quickly towards Bloomsbury Square Gardens and past the British Museum, completely unfazed by the numerous people staring at him. And I'm sorry I'm going faster, guys. I have a lot of good ones.
Was his name Tubin?
Another good question. After second successful robbery of a Fenway bank, man splurged on a cab to a McDonald's across town. Another local story. This happened on Huntington Ave at the Chase Bank. A man who held up the Chase Bank on Huntington Ave struck again around 11:40 on a Saturday. Oh, this time it was Massachusetts Ave. He ditched his outer clothing and then hopped in a car ride over to the McDonald's.
Cab ride.
No, it says in a car ride.
Okay, I think it was a cab, though, that he took. But okay, go ahead.
When was the last time you saw a cab, my friend? The man gave a teller a demand note, said he had a gun, then fled on foot before his change of clothes and cab ride arrived. You're right, Howie.
The headline did say taxi, didn't it?
He's described as white, 5'5" to 5'8", with a medium build and gray hair around his ears. Huh.
Now, why do you think he went to a McDonald's on Mass Ave, of all places? Grace, do you think he was actually in the mood for a Big Mac, or was he going to buy something else, perhaps outside the McDonald's, from a vendor in the parking lot, so to speak?
Oh, I don't know. I'm such a McDonald's purist. I really was thinking of some hot fries on a cold night.
Looking to get some Coke? Is that what you're saying? Diet Coke or?
They do have really good fountain soda. Guys, when we get back,
especially down on Mass Ave. Yeah.
I have one more runner-up, and then I have our two winners.
All right. We will be right back. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Born in Maine, made in Massachusetts, and now a resident of the Sunshine State, Howie Carr, the original carpetbagger.
My friends at Eden Pure have done it again. And for just this week, the Thunderstorm Air Purifier BOGO is back. That's buy one thunderstorm and get another one for free. It's been months and people still ask me if it really works. Not only does it really work, but it works in hours. Our sales rep came down last week and there was a funky smell at the Airbnb, but that was no match for the thunderstorm. The mailroom manager lent one of ours to her, and hours later, the smell was gone. The Eden Pure air purifier is so small you can hold it in your hand and it plugs right into the wall. That's why it was so easy to move. The best part is that you don't have to replace any air filters, which of course saves you time and money. BOGO is back for 1 week only. Maybe you have one and you know how well it works. Now you may want one for your second floor or your basement. Don't delay. Shipping is free.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Chocolate, candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here.
Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker.
Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs.
Civilization as we know it is at stake.
I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody, anytime.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
Tanny says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes. We're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second, control room? So that's not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about North. No, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Ignore me.
that's
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because I don't know. I just was.
Every time you turn around, expect to see me. There's one time you'll turn around and I'll be there.
The Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Back with Police Blotter Facts Friday with the winners with Grace Curley. What do you got, Grace?
Here we go. Naked Wichita Falls man accused of licking windows. The suspect had a knife on him and fled from officers when they arrived on the scene. Officers chased the suspect on foot, and the suspect was eventually brought down with a taser. A victim told officers,
"Don't tase me, bro! Don't tase me! I didn't do anything! Ow! Ow! Ow!
Grace windows were they consenting adult windows?
That's a very good question. I don't even
Were they in
understand.
pain?
The suspect was taken to the hospital after complaints of chest pains. An officer said the suspect had a
Chest
history.
pains. Get it?
Oh, very good, Howie. You are on it today. All right, and this is my last story. It's really amazing. I want to know your take. Garbage man's caught on video snowman attack gets him fired. A garbage man in England has been fired after getting caught on camera going kung fu on a family's sidewalk snowman. Footage shows the orange uniformed trash worker delivering a half dozen kicks to the 6-foot snowman, decapitating the construction and ultimately reducing it to half its...
Barbaric.
Wait, so this is what's crazy. He gets fired and because he killed this kid snowman. And
But
the
Frosty
mom's
the Snowman will be back. You know, we all know that, right? It's in the song. He'll
Howie,
be back someday
this is
with
the
his
be-
magic hat.
This is the best part. Meanwhile, the so-called bin man has told the Mirror that he'll build the kid another snowman if the family wants, but that he is not sorry. I don't think I have to say I'm sorry. His family knew it was not going to be there forever. He said
How does he know that?
He said the snowman was obstructing his path. I decided to kick it because I didn't think it was going to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't think that snowmen have feelings. It was going to melt and snow again. I didn't think
Take it up with Frosty.
Sounds like a couple of snowflakes to me.
Someone on Twitter said, this obviously has shown his character. Would you employ him? Thank you to Panchitosi Baking Company for their delicious bread and for sponsoring Police Blotter Facts Friday.
Back with Dr. Matt. I'm Howie Carr.
As this year of COVID draws to a close, it's time to make sure your portfolio is ready for whatever happens next. Kevin Frisbee and the team at Frisbee & Associates are ready to help you. It's called the 100-100 Challenge. If you have $100,000 saved for retirement and come in for that no-cost, no-obligation consultation, you walk out with $100 cash. That's right, $100 just to let Kevin do a portfolio x-ray and see what might be hiding in your current plan. Call now for your no-cost or obligation consultation, and you could walk out with $100 cash. Call 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100. Kevin is a true fiduciary. That means by law, he's always working in your best interest. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for a market review and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams. Call Kevin Frisbee today, 800-989-9100. That's 800-989-9100.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys.
Angry white man. Angry white old men. These angry white men. The angry white vote. All these angry white people. Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist.
Racist, bigoted face. It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's insult.
They tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist. The credulous boomer rube demo. Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and
What
your
a super
maps
beat.
and your spelling. Even though my
math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at in the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Thunderstorm.
Here's 1 minute of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
There's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism, where people are literally not patroning Chinese restaurants. They're not patroning Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus. So,
only in America does when the president tweets about liberation, does he mean go back to work? When we, have this discussion about going back or reopening, I think a lot of people should just say no. We're not going back to that.
I know it sounds banal. Do we know how long puppies are allowed to stay with their mothers after a dog has given birth?
I don't.
8 weeks. So the market has decided that women and people who give birth deserve less time with their children than a dog.
So the whole premise of the Green New Deal is that we're screwed.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings of Congresswoman Harris, Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy do on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
We are now effective today requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology for what they do.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac.
You say he lives on.
Not a lie. I know. I keep doing that.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us. I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
You've been hearing me talk about super beats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beats? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beats. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty. But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
What exactly did you mean when you said that the enemy is within? What exactly did
It
you mean
means
by
that we have members of Congress who want to bring guns on the floor and have threatened violence on other members of Congress.
Seems like an overreaction.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Thank you for your leadership during these trying times. In the darkest days of the pandemic, your daily briefings live from New York gave us hope, gave us clarity, gave us the truth, and gave us something that we were not getting from Washington: leadership.
What?
I was trying to think of something that I could say to you.
It's a tragedy. And I understand, look, whether a person died in a hospital or died in a nursing home, people died. People died.
Hey, now is not the time for your cold-hearted analysis.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Once a month, we are joined by Dr. Matt Callahan. He's the vet, the house vet of the Howie Carr Show, and he's here to answer all your questions about your pet, your house pets, your dogs, your cats, whatever, but mainly your dogs and your cats. And he's a very good vet. He did a fantastic job with my dog Gooner. Was really just such a great provider of services to Gooner in her final days, and he's very good, and he's someone that you should think about taking your pet to if you live within driving distance, and it's not that hard to get to his place. It's up on the North Shore, and Dr. Matt is brought to you today by Eden Pure Thunderstorm. For all your pet odors, get the Thunderstorm air purifier today at EdenPure.com, code word Howie Bogo. Howie Bogo.
I've got my Eden Pure right here, Howie.
And I wanted to mention this before we get started. Now, you heard us talking about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, and you got one for your son, correct?
Right, because his cat, and as I explained to Kathy, it literally the world's stinkiest cat. And, I could not imagine walking into my son's apartment if he did not have an Eden Pure. So, I asked him, I don't know, it was 48 hours after he got it, and he said all the smell is gone.
Yeah, it really is remarkable. That's good.
We have them in the clinic too. They really are great in the clinic because I don't want that disinfectant smell.
Right.
And so, in fact, one of the technicians came to me one day. You can plug it in anywhere. So it was behind a chair, and the chair had moved and knocked it out. And she walked in one day and she said, "Who turned off the air purifier?" It just had gotten knocked out.
Yeah, it does smell fresh. If you put it in your office or somewhere where you don't go overnight and you come back in, you'll be able to smell it in the morning. But it's not, like you say, it's not a disinfectant smell. It's a clean smell, yes. like a thunderstorm after a thunderstorm.
Yeah, it really is terrific. So.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to take questions for Dr. Matt here. Any questions you have about your pets? 844-500-4242. And this is a very cold time of year, obviously, and people are having a tough time. I'm hearing messages that they getting their pets out, their dogs out to go outside. And you know what I used to do with Gunnar. I would just take my foot and push her out the door. But I'm sure you're going to give me a better suggestion what people should do when their dogs don't want to go outside in this kind of weather.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. We've actually been dealing with a lot of cold-related stuff in the last couple of weeks, and especially the last couple of days, a lot of paw issues. So, I mean, you sort of forget about it until it reoccurs. But a lot of dogs are having problems with the salt and stuff that's put out on driveways and porches and roads and stuff like that. So I don't know that there's any other way to convince your dog to go out. I think most dogs can manage cold weather pretty well for short periods of time. That being said, I had a client bring their Chihuahua puppy in last February when it was about 5 degrees. And she asked me about taking the dog out. And I said, April, not April.
Oh boy. 844-500-4242. Again, if you got a question about your pets and anything that you have any about their health or their behavior. And Dr. Matt, what is your address? Where are you out of, and what phone number can people call during the week if they want to get some service from you?
Yeah, we're right on Route 1, Old Route 1, on the Raleigh-Ipswich line, and our number is, we're the Ipswich Animal Hospital, and our number is 978-948-8189.
978-948-8189. All right. Jeff, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt.
Hi, Howie. Hi, Dr. Matt. How are you today?
Good.
I have a 12-year-old St. Bernard,
wow.
And recently, she's a beautiful dog, 107-pound female, and recently she's had some trouble getting up. I gave her some Dashuquin, or however it's pronounced.
Yes.
Will that work on something else called knuckling?
Well, here's the thing, is almost all these dogs at this age have some degree of neurological degeneration and some degree of just plain old osteoarthritis, just wear and tear arthritis. Certainly Dashuquin will help the arthritis part, but if your dog is now knuckling, then it suggests either that your dog does not know where, is it a boy or a girl?
It's a 12-year-old female.
Yeah, so she doesn't know where her back feet are. That's called proprioception. And so because those nerves run along the outside of the spinal cord, they're affected most by any spinal degeneration, which could be spinal stenosis or intervertebral disc disease, or even, something like degenerative myelopathy, which is basically Lou Gehrig's disease. So,
had any of this been brought on by a kidney infection?
I doubt it. You've got an exceptionally old dog for a St. Bernard, exceptionally old.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Doctor. I mean, the bigger dogs, unfortunately, have shorter lifespans, correct?
Markedly shorter. And she's obviously a very small St. Bernard, thank goodness. That's why she's still around. If she was a 130-pound St. Bernard, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But what I would honestly do, I would get her a harness. There's a great harness company called Help 'em Up Harness, and they make terrific harnesses for both the front end and back end of dogs. And that really can help
wheels?
No, it's not a wheel. It's not a wheelchair. It's just a harness to help you help her.
I do have something that I wrap around her midsection, in case.
Right, and that's what this harness is. It's just really nice because it has handles and it has some customization that makes it.
What's the name of it again, Doctor?
They're called Help 'em Up harnesses. So.
Help 'em Up.
Help 'em Up.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Good luck.
Bye.
Jim, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Jim.
Hi, Howie and Dr. Matt. Thank you for taking my call. I have a question for you. Can dogs live to be 20 years old?
Oh, absolutely. Sure. Yeah. I don't think I've had a 20-year-old recently, but I've definitely had a 19-year-old. So, yeah, absolutely.
Gunnar made it to 18 and a half.
Yeah.
Small dog.
Can they live to be 20-something years old?
Yeah, it's usually the really small dogs. I think the break is at about 15 or 20 pounds. Dogs below that, we see them very commonly into their late teens, and I don't see any reason why they couldn't get to 20. We're treating a 24-year-old cat, so
wow,
they can get up there.
What's the oldest cat you've ever heard of, actually, Doctor?
Oh, 30. I think 30 is
30?
the oldest. Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
It is, really is.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Tracy, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Tracy.
Hi, I'm wondering, I'm getting a golden retriever puppy, and when is the best time to spay her?
Yeah, the current thinking is to wait somewhere between 10 months and a year. There's some evidence that waiting a little longer confers greater health going down the road. And so where almost always the tradition for maybe the last 50 years has been to do it at 6 months, our recommendation now is to do it between 10 and 12 months.
Is that before or after a heat?
They'd certainly go through one heat at least. Yeah, one heat.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the whole that's part of the process, right? Let them go through the one heat before you spay them, right?
Yeah, I mean I think the risk is that it slightly increases their chance of breast cancer down the road. Although I think overall, if you look at the big numbers, they actually dogs that are spayed and neutered later in life, not at all, but later than 6 months, they grow slightly smaller, but they stay slimmer their whole life. And we know that golden retrievers have appetite issues where they don't know quite how to turn off the appetite. So keeping them thinner their whole life, and that's what the researchers suspect is causing this greater lifespan amongst later spay and neuters.
Thanks for the call, Tracy. A good question. Okay, Dr. Matt, we'll be right back in just a moment. But we're going to talk about the thunderstorm that you and your son love, and we all love it. My friends at Eden Pure have done it again, and just for this week only, the Thunderstorm Air Purifier BOGO is back. That's buy one Thunderstorm Air Purifier and get another one for free. It's been months, and people still ask me if it really works. Not only does it really work, but it works in hours. Our sales rep came down last week, and there was a funky smell at the Airbnb but it was no match for the thunderstorm. The mailroom manager lent one of ours to her, and hours later, the smell was gone. Dr. Matt's son, the smell of his stinky cat was gone in a couple of hours. That's all it takes. The Eden Pure Air Purifier is so small you can hold it in your hand and it plugs right into the wall. That's why it was so easy to move. The best part is you don't have to replace any air filters, which of course saves you time and money. BOGO is back for 1 week only. Maybe you have one and you know how well it works. Now you may want one for your second floor or basement. Pet, kitchen, tobacco, or that basement smell is all gone with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Go
now,
to
Dr. Matt, Howie claims that you said this cat is a vile, smelly cat. Is that true?
Well, his Drogon is a wonderful cat, but the cat is breathtaking in the worst possible way. I mean, it really does smell bad.
Drogon?
Well
Drogon.
put.
With a name like Drogon, he probably does smell.
Right.
Breathtaking. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie BOGO. This deal ends on January 31st at midnight. The thunderstorm sells fast, so don't delay. Shipping is free. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the guru of craft. It's Howie Carr.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Floramos Restaurant in Chelsea, where the meat falls off the bone. Stop in today for their famous baby back ribs and so much more.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man. Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
I can still teach you a few, kid. You're just a tin-horn thug and you always will be. You haven't got the guts to be anything else.
The Howie Carr Show.
Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. For all your house odors, you need the Eden Pure Air Purifier. Through Sunday, January 31st, BOGO is back. Go to EdenPure.com and use code word Howie BOGO. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
As climate czar, how will John Kerry travel? Commercial, government plane, or the flying squirrel?
Government plane. That's why he took the job.
29% say flying squirrel, 68% say government-issued plane.
All right, 844-500-4242. With us is Dr. Matt, the House Veterinarian of the Howie Carr Show. And Dr. Matt, if people want your services, what's the number they should call during the week?
They can call me at 978-948-8189.
All right, and where is your clinic?
We're right on the Ipswich Raleigh line on Route 1, and we're the Ipswich Animal Hospital.
Ipswich Animal Hospital. 617 says, when do pit bull pups calm down? 5 months old, crazy, good dog, but hyper.
Well, boy, it's such an individual thing. A friend of mine once said there's nothing better than a 6-year-old Labrador, and I understood completely what he meant. It takes a while for them to mellow out,
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I guess I would say probably a year to 2 years, they're going to start to mellow out a little bit.
Here's a strange one. Lucy loves to eat shells when I take her to the beach. She chews them up and swallows them.
Yeah.
I'm so afraid she's going to choke. Why would she be eating shells? She also does the same with sticks, eats them too.
Yeah. Again, it's a behavioral thing. There's lots of people that want to chalk it up to some nutritional deficiency, which I don't necessarily believe in. Some dogs have fetishes for eating different sorts of things. Shells are particularly bad because they're sharp and they won't necessarily choke on them, but it will poke holes in their esophagus or their stomach or their small intestine. So you really have to prevent it. I actually generally recommend a cage muzzle. Cage muzzles are, if you remember back to when they had greyhound racing, they would wear a cage muzzle when they raced. So the dog can pant and it can drink water. It just can't eat shells or poop or whatever the dog's eating.
So that's what you do when you take the dog to Lucy to the beach.
Lucy goes to the beach with a cage muzzle. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the safest thing. We had a client years ago that spent $6,000 getting rocks out of her golden retriever before that $13 cage muzzle looked a lot better. Yeah.
617 says, my mother died and we got our cat. She got it when my son was born and he's now 27. So the cat's 27.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. Barbara, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yes, my daughter. Excuse me. My daughter has 2 Jack Russells, and They're both 15.
Yeah.
She's a little bit older than him, but he barks all the time.
Yeah.
You come in the house, everything you do, he barks. So how do you stop them from barking?
Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to train them not to. There certainly are collars. The newer bark collars are actually a little more sophisticated, and some of them will just give them a admonishment really than a punishment, and we'll give them maybe a vibration, and some even will spray a little citronella. Dogs don't seem to like that. I will tell you, however, that you can also use calming supplements. There's a supplement maker called, I think it's called Front of the Pack, and they make one called Harmony that I've used with my dog because she's a barker too. And so that product seems to have helped my dog more than anything else.
Good luck, Barbara. Brian, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, good evening, Howie and Dr. Matt. So we've got a rescue dog out of Tennessee who we had a DNA test on, and he's, cattle dog, Vizsla, Siberian, and a golden retriever.
Nice.
But he always barks, not at me. He only doesn't do it to my wife. He barks at me. He'll sit there and stare at me. And I don't like this. I'm not the alpha male. I used to be Spartacus, but now I don't know what.
Yeah, how long have you had the dog now?
6 months.
Okay. I think what I would start to do is I'm not a full believer in the alpha male sort of thing, but you do have to be the command giver. So I would start to do some form of training, maybe treat training, so you're giving him rewards too. You can actually teach dogs to bark and teach them to be quiet. So there was actually a book out years ago called Play Training Your Dog. And if you can find it, get it, because it has great techniques for, when you train dogs to come, you can train them to stay. You can train them to get on things and to get off of things, and you can train them to bark and then not to bark. You just never give them the bark command. So training them really does help, and it helps them respect you, that you're the decider in chief, as a former president once said.
On the other hand, though, Doctor, couldn't he just give him some treats, bribe him, like I did with Gunner and Pearl?
Yeah, but what sometimes happens is now the dog thinks he's getting what he wants. So now you're rewarding him for the barking. So
okay,
I think but it's not the worst idea. It's just that there's a risk that you're going to reward bad behavior.
Thanks for the call, Brian. Lisa, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Lisa.
Hi.
Hi.
I recently adopted a British short hair back in May of 2020. And at first she was fine, but now as the months continue, she's throwing up maybe 3 or 4 times a week after I feed her.
Yeah.
I'm feeding her about a quarter of a cup of cat food in the morning and in the evening. And I just recently changed her food to Ein's Proactive Health Hairball Care.
Sure.
And she's still throwing up. I mean, she is such a good-natured cat.
Okay.
For being a doctor, she'll be 8 in March.
Okay. Does she vomit hairballs or does she not vomit hairballs?
She does not vomit the hairballs.
Yeah, this is definitely a trip to the veterinarian. I think one of the problems is, as veterinarians and clients, we all sort of expect our cats to throw up fairly frequently. There was a feline veterinarian who a couple of years ago stopped sort of accepting vomiting cats as just one of those things. And what he found is, I think like 70% of the cats that were vomiting, he could find some pathology. And that pathology can be inflammatory bowel disease. But as the cat ages, inflammatory bowel disease can become GI lymphoma. And we've definitely seen cases of that, both IBD and GI lymphoma. So I really think while treating a cat for hairballs makes some sense early on, but if you have a cat that's vomiting that frequently, they really need to see the veterinarian.
All right. Good luck, Lisa. Okay, we'll be right back with Dr. Matt. We have him for another 30 minutes. If you got a question about your pet, give us a call, 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
The Kathy Ireland Gems Ball was one of the hottest selling gifts this holiday season. This Valentine's Day, give a gift that will provide.
917 says, for Dr. Matt, I'm a 78-year-old man living in Washington, D.C. How do you tease a German Shepherd without breaking your foot?
You see that?
Use promo code GRACE and save 20%. That's mygemspa.com, promo code GRACE and save 20%.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
Hello, all the participants of tonight's event. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work. We will reclaim our credibility. The pandemic, we need all our strength to persevere. Rural versus urban. America built of decency. I took it to instill public confidence in the vaccine. President-elect Harris took hers today for the same reason. Everybody is entitled to be treated with decency. All my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here. James Joyce was said to have told a friend, I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay at bed staring at the ceiling. Yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony. Come on, give me a break, man.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too, and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy-to-follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of...
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can also see you are in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. Little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet. Because if that's who they are, and if they are the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Matt the Vet is brought to you by Eden Pure Thunderstorm. For all your pet odors, get the Thunderstorm Air Purifier today at EdenPure.com. Code word Howie Bogo. Howie Bogo. And Dr. Matt, what's the number if people want to get your services at the Ipswich Animal Hospital?
My number is 978-948-8189.
And we got another text from a guy who just had the same problem, basically, that Lisa, his cat is 7 years old.
Yeah.
And he says that he usually has a small hairball. Why would this start now after 7 years with virtually no vomiting?
Well, cats groom differently as they age, and some cats will groom more, or they have a different hair coat as they age. The hairballs, you usually think of them, at least I usually think of them, as like a plug at the end of their stomach, but it's not like that. Once they can start to do endoscopy in cats, it's actually more like your welcome mat in front of your house. Now, everyone knows the rule of your welcome mat is never look under the welcome mat for all the stuff that's going on under it.
Yeah.
And so it basically causes a gastritis because it sits in the same part of the stomach, and then they'll vomit or they'll retch and they'll move it, and then the whole process starts again. Most hairball remedies are basically flavored Vaseline, but what it does is it gets into the hairball and helps the hairball pass through the GI tract.
Mm-hmm.
And but some cats will just
it's like Drano. It's like Drano for cats, in other words.
Well, I don't quite use that term, no.
But I mean, it's not going to poison them. But what I mean is, it loosens it up.
It helps clean that out.
Right.
So sometimes it's called cat laxative, but it's not really a laxative. It just helps hairballs pass. So and those are fine to use, but for some cats, it's more than just hairballs. So.
And here's another one about a dog that eats poop. I won't go into the gory details, but what should he do?
Man, that's a tough one. It really is. So again, cage muzzles work quite well. There are some products that you can add to their food that supposedly will impart a worse flavor than you would already imagine. But there's very few things that really work religiously. I actually am a pretty big fan of a cage muzzle.
And someone wants to know, what's the name of that book for barking dogs?
Okay, the book, it was called Play Training Your Dog. And I think you can still find it. I'm pretty sure it's not published anymore, but it might be out on a Kindle or something like that.
Play Training Your Dog, or get it on a used book site.
Yeah,
do you know the author's name?
I have no idea.
Okay. All right. Jenny, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Go ahead, Jenny.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Matt. It's nice to have you back. I just got a baby boy bunny.
Oh, boy.
He's just over 8 weeks old.
Yeah.
And I had a question about neutering him.
Yeah.
Concerning longevity.
Yeah.
And pros and cons.
Well, I would think you would probably want to neuter him. I don't think there's been any good studies about length of life with neutered bunnies, but once you realize that let's try to imagine the behavior of an unneutered baby bunny, and you really want to neuter them. I would say that most bunnies that are living in close proximity with humans are neutered. If you have them out in a hutch or something like that, it's probably less critical. But neutering bunnies is pretty straightforward.
Thank you, Jenny. Joel, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Joel.
Hey, Doctor, this is so great. Doctor, I have 2 pugs.
All right.
And they have decided to go outside and bark at absolutely nothing. Relentlessly. I mean, it is. I love them both. The older one, Gunner, he would bark occasionally, and all of a sudden because we thought he was lonely, we got another one, a female, and he has taught her.
Right.
And I am talking. I love him, but I want to kill him.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think this sort of issue is a pretty tough one. I hope you wanted a second pug and you didn't buy your pug a pug, because that's what happened. Then you have a pug and your pug has a pug. But I guess as a general statement, I would say that humans live in a certain reality, and we share that reality with dogs. But we also have differing realities, and dogs know stuff that we don't know. So there might be a scent or an animal that's nearby that bothers them or something like that. And so that's what they're barking at. So I suppose for the time being, you probably should chaperone their trips outside so you can, talk to them about it or something like that. Again, you can train dogs to bark and you can train dogs not to bark. And so, pugs, I don't know how are pugs easy to train or?
No, I think Joel can answer that as well as I can. The answer is no in a word. But
I have an electronic fence.
Yeah. Oh no,
tried
that's
the
there you go.
sonic thing.
So no, I mean you could put bar collars on them. As I said, the newer bar collars are pretty sophisticated, and you can set them off, or they can automatically set off. I prefer the ones that you set off with a radio control.
Where we are, Dr. Matt, where we are in Florida, these neighbors, new neighbors of ours on the same floor, they got two long-haired dachshunds,
right?
And those damn dogs, they're barking all the time. But then they hired this, I guess you call him a dog whisperer.
Yeah.
And when he's with them, they don't bark. It's amazing. What does the dog whisperer do to get them to stop barking?
I don't know. I guess you have to hire the dog whisperer to find out.
But do you believe? I mean, I'm sort of I've heard about dog whisperers on TV, but I've never seen it really work like that. But it does. This guy is working with these.
Well, as we talked about this earlier with another caller, but I think when you are giving commands to dogs and dogs have to obey commands, they start to listen to you and they start to refer to you to make decisions. I will tell you, I don't think dogs sometimes make the very best decisions when they have to make independent decisions. But if you're the decider for them, they look to you, and then they defer to you. And so that's why we have clients. This barking thing happens a lot where, strangely enough, it's usually the opposite of the earlier caller, where the dog will bark with the wife and kids because they're protecting the house. But then the husband comes home and the dog's quiet because the chief is there. At least what they recognize as the chief.
Thanks for the call, Joel, and good luck with those pugs. He has a pug named Gunner. What a weird name.
Small world.
844-500-4242. Glenn, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Glenn.
Hey, Howie, how are you?
Good.
All right, great. Listen, I've been listening to you for I don't know how long. All right. But listen, Dr. Matt, I've got these two dogs, right? They're probably 2 years old now, 2.5, right? They were rescue dogs.
Yep.
One of my daughters got the first one, all right? And then my other daughter said, I'm going to get one too, okay? Now I got two of them. One of them moved to New Hampshire, so I got the other one back, all right?
Okay.
So I got them in the house, all right? They're great dogs. They're great pups.
Get to it.
I call them pups, because they're only loading.
Go for it. What's the question there, Glenn?
The question, well, it's a 4-part question. One of them used to be really nice with me and everything, the male, Boomer. And then the female, Nina, who came in afterwards, right? She's like, she looks like she's Belgian.
What's
Shepherd,
the problem?
And
Glenn, bring on the bear, as they used to say in journalism class. Tell us, what's the problem?
The problem is the female will not come near me, and she growls at me constantly.
Yeah. Well, again, I think probably the best thing is to do some training with them. You might want to bring them to a trainer or bring them to a training class so you can start to work with someone that can help you literally get closer to the dog. Obviously, feeding them is important, giving them treats is important, but you have to start doing some training with them so they start to, respect you as the person who runs the show.
Thank you, Glenn. Dr. Matt, you're getting a lot of psychological dog questions tonight.
It was the full moon yesterday. So.
Let's see here. Pat, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Pat.
Howie, can I get that last 60 seconds back of my life that Glenn just wasted? Doctor, I'd like to get your opinion on a treatment course for he's a 5-month-old Czechoslovakian wolf dog.
Okay.
He tested positive for Giardia about 2.5 weeks ago.
Yes.
And the initial vet prescribed him 250 milligrams tablets of metronidazole twice a day.
Yep.
As well as 2 grams of Panicur once a day for a 5-day course.
Yep.
After about a week, we brought him back, and he tested positive again. He still had his sores getting worse. So the vet doubled for another 5 days. So it was 500 milligrams twice a day of the Metro nitazole and 5 grams a day of Panica. We had to stop after the first day. After one day of the double the dose, we brought him to Angel. He's very lethargic, wouldn't eat or drink. It just wasn't right. And the Angel said that the Metro nitazole that have neurological effects and bad side effects.
So what's the problem? Go ahead, Pat. What do you want? What's your question?
It's been 3 weeks now. He still has Giardia. Just got tested again.
Yes.
He's still positive for Giardia.
Oh, is he sick?
Prescribed him Dronso.
Okay. First of all, did he ever have diarrhea?
Very bad, yes. I mean, it goes back and forth.
And has that gone away? Okay. It would be, this is my guess. I want to stress that this is my guess, that Giardia has nothing to do with your dog's diarrhea. If you look at guys, veterinarians that are infectious disease veterinarians, they really struggle with, does Giardia cause any problems in dogs whatsoever? You have a source where your dog's being reinfected or you can't get rid of it. A lot of veterinarians feel like many forms of Giardia is a completely normal component of your dog's GI tract. And so many don't treat it at all. I would address it, at least for now, I would address the diarrhea as another problem, not Giardia.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Here's a 603 says, I'm a vet in New Hampshire. Dr. Matt should say the most common cause of non-productive coughing in cats is asthma. Very often misdiagnosed as hairballs. If a cat keeps coughing, there are no hairballs. It's probably not a hairball.
Right.
Yeah, okay. You agree with that?
Sure.
Okay. Kim, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Kim.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a 12-week-old Shih Tzu puppy, and I've had Shih Tzus before, and they're pretty low-key, chill dogs. But this puppy is extremely, extremely aggressive, and I'm wondering, is there anything I can do training-wise to get it to just do something so that it doesn't grow up to be so aggressive? I'm really worried that it's just going to be an aggressive dog.
Yeah. Well, I think, Shih Tzus are fairly uniformly very sweet. And
they're so small. How aggressive could a dog that small be?
Yeah, but you don't even want small dogs biting you. So I guess I would say that some of these Shih Tzus actually have some Lhasa in them. Lhasas were the guard dogs, and Shih Tzus were the lap dogs. So I doubt after living together for 500 years that there wouldn't be a little Shih Tzu DNA in Lhasas and a little Lhasa DNA in Shih Tzus. And so you can get these aggressive dogs. But again, I certainly think at 12 weeks, a training class is really where you want to go. Puppy kindergarten, then you can, get the advice of a behavioral expert or a training expert to start to get a little better relationship with the dog.
Okay, thanks for the call there, Kim. 844-500-4242. We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr.
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. It's Howie Carr.
I recently had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but this reminded me again of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer, a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. Right now, when a lot of people don't want to go into the city, Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, and parking is free. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols that Perfect Smiles has taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. Call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile. Change your life.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings. Congresswoman Harris, Congressman Senator, did I say Senator Harris? He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy doo on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. That they wanted their voices to be heard. I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
Got hate mail?
You bloated idiot! You stupid fat you!
Send it to Grace at HowieCarShow.com.
Matt the Vet is brought to you by Eden Pure Thunderstorm. For all your pet odors, get the Thunderstorm air purifier today at EdenPure.com, code word Howie. Dr. Matt, what is your phone number at the Ipswich Animal Hospital if people need your services?
My phone number is 978-948-8189.
All right. My assistant here in Florida, his name is McKay, and he got a rescue dog, a collie named Scout, and it had PDA surgery.
Yeah, wow.
And now he's wondering it's about a year old. He's wondering if he should buy the ASPCA pet insurance. Is it worthwhile or?
Well, for the heart condition, most pet insurances are a little bit like the older people health insurances. They won't cover pre-existing conditions. So as far as the PDA goes, they'll never cover anything with regards to that. But I think pet insurance is overall a pretty good idea, and they seem to work well with veterinarians. We work well with the insurance companies, and they seem to be pretty respectful.
All right. Okay. So it just won't cover PDA insurance. It won't cover the PDA.
Yeah, anything to do with probably the heart. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kim, another Kim, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Kim.
I know. Hi, Howie. Hi, Dr. Matt. I was
Kim.
talking to myself there for a while. I have a brand new puppy. He's a Sheltie. He's about 10, 11 weeks. I guess he's 11 weeks. And when I went to my vet, I was kind of surprised. I have been feeding him a sweet potato, green bean, carrot, kibble kind of thing,
Yep.
a grain-free kibble.
Yeah.
And then I'm giving him like a couple tablespoons of some fresh cuts that's like, chicken recipe, whatever, non-GMO, whatever. And my vet was saying that actually they found that there are some studies showing that dogs that are not eating grain recipes are having health issues.
Yeah.
And I was
So,
shocked.
yeah, these are called beg diets, boutique, exotic, grain-free diets. So, I don't know. What protein source are you using in the diet?
Chicken.
Okay.
Is the raw? It's not raw? It's
That's
like
fine.
cooked raw. When you go into the pet store and you see it in the refrigerated section.
Yeah, there's some data. There's some dogs that seem to have problems with grain-free diets, and we don't know exactly the reason why. That's the thing we don't know. So I guess I would say it's not hard to put a little grain in the dog's diet. Rice or something like that would certainly, as long as it's a dog food, because dog foods really do have some of the micronutrients.
Dr. Matt, are you basically suggesting that sometimes it's possible to overthink your dog's diet?
Well, I think that I think there's been sort of a move towards these grain-free diets as if they're mysteriously healthier, and I don't personally think they are. You have to have a carbohydrate source. In that carbohydrate, if it's not grains, it's usually potato. So is potato specifically healthier than wheat or corn? I don't know.
Thanks for the call, Kim. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr and Dr. Matt. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Howie Carr, how are you?
Good.
Dr. Matt. Howie, first of all, I love your show. Been
Thanks.
a fan for many decades. So, Dr. Matt, we have a wheat terrier. We've had two awesome dogs. Love them.
Yep.
My next door neighbor just got a golden doodle as a puppy, paid some pretty significant money.
Yep.
And the dog is biting them. And I don't know if it's lack of
wow.
discipline. Well, no, yeah, but this isn't going to end up funny. Lack of discipline, but they're ready to put the dog down.
Yeah, well, here's the problem, and it's more complicated than just let's make the dog better, because suddenly you have this long-term liability, whereas if this dog bites someone else, you're going to be put in a conference room and asked on the record, did you know your dog bit? Did know my dog bit. And so that's what creates a huge problem with dogs that bite people. So, I mean, I'm certainly, game for them to bring the dog to some form of training and something like that. But it's a tough situation to be put into.
Sorry, we don't have an answer for you, Bill. Give us your number again, Dr. Matt.
978-948-8189.
Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Matt
Thanks, Howie.
Callahan at the Ipswich Animal Hospital. See you on Monday. I'm Howie Carr.